I'll go live for you early Hanyakers. And Mike, thanks, man. Could you hold off? Could you hold off, Mike? I love it on Thanksgiving where everybody, this is, mark my words here, okay? This is going to become more common because as fewer and fewer people have families, more and more people get divorced. No man, fish bicycle, whatever. There's none of this sit down stuff. I actually got a picture from Vlad. He's over with the girl he left us for. He stabbed me in the Anthem in the back for a piece of tail, like all men do. And big old family, like they had the old school adult table. Many of you remember this from the 80s. And then they had the little kids table, but everyone's so damn old. There's like adults sitting at the kids table who technically are the kids of the adults sitting at the adult table. That's on the way out, man. That's on the way out. Like the Sturgis rally, that's on the way out. Like thin chicks, it ain't going to happen. And this is what's going to happen more. There's going to be a lot of people. Heck, most of you just want to get away from your damn folks anyway in the family anyway. So now you're all stuffed with food. Me and the great one had Bachelor food. He cooked up some leftover meat. I had some potatoes and beef that the GF made. She made me, I don't know what else to call them, compartments of food. She's like, you're not going to eat because no bachelor has ever, like, there's just men dying in the streets because a woman isn't there to make sure he knows to eat and wipe his ass and brush his teeth. And I said, well, yeah, I'll probably stock up on food. It's a day. People have been known to go a whole day without a meal. Oh, no. And then I don't get a compartment. I got like 6. Like, this is going to take a while to eat. So me and the great one had a very bachelor Thanksgiving. And I microwaved mine. He grilled his up. And he went back downstairs and listened to Dick Masterson of The Dick Show, who has yet to ever get back to me. Probably thinks I'm some dweeb or something like that. So, all right, Mike. All right. I know you're all anxious. I know. And I have absolutely no prep for this. We're going to have a bunch of people coming in. I invited, the regular old misfits involved. And I don't know how long it's going to go. And I don't know how long it's going to be, but it'll be what it is. Mexi Mike, $10. You miss all of us old quack storms old man who yells at clouds. Yes, we got spare time. Pressure. Jesus, Mike, you need to learn a whole new language to read one of your super chats, and plenty of disposable income. We be out here playing boyfriend during coffin season to easy layup pussy. Logical tells me it's a trap, but I'll play dumb. Mike, I got to read the whole darn thing over again just to figure out what the heck you're saying. You miss all of us old farts who yells at clouds. Yes, we got spare time and plenty of disposable income. We be out here playing boyfriend during coffin season to easy layup tail. Logic tells me it's a trap, but I'll play dumb. Man, Mike, I want the drugs that you're on. All right. Already the super chat. So I'm going to stay on top of them because I do have a couple items I want to go through here. And we will have people joining. That's if anyone knows what mountain time is. Everybody else is on the East Coast time or Canadian time or Europe time. Napier was all whiny this morning. It's like, oh, but Aaron, that's good to be 1 a.m. my time. I was like, yeah, because when I was 28, I never stayed up till 1 a.m. Swallow Blue, are you even tall enough to sit at the kids' table? I'm not kidding. The last time I was at any kind of like family function on the Clarey side of things, they actually did have to break out the little kids' table, the fold-out card table, because there were that many people that showed up. And not joking, and you almost didn't want to disrespect the elders. It's like, I was the oldest kid. I was the oldest person at the kids' table. Everyone else at the table was adults, mind you. But I was the eldest of the kids because there was enough adults to fill it. Here we are, me and my cousins, I guess it was at the time, full-grown adults. I'm talking, I was like in my 30s, man. I was in my 30s. And, and then I was still sitting at the table. So, but I am tall enough. Nonstop Dre, $2. What did you cook for Vincent? Cappy sits at the short table. I didn't cook anything for Vincent. Vincent might be on. Taiwan Do, $2. We give thanks for having a grumpy Cappy. Yes, thank you. And I found my fez. I've been missing it since I moved out of my old house. I found my fez. Many thanks to Kareem and Anas over in Morocco. 2 guys we got over there. And Unifrog, another generous $100 Australian. Happy turkey. Thanks. You guys got anything like that down in Australia? Man, thanks for all your charity past 2 days. That will, I'm going to tell you later on about what the money's going to go for, but let's get this in. Well, hello, Seth.
Hey.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Are you, what is it, 6 a.m. over there? Or you look a little peaked?
Yeah, sorry. I just woke up. It's 7.
7 over in Thailand?
Yeah, I was up a little late.
Yeah, cool. Well, anyway, glad you could make it. Are you missing Thanksgiving activities living overseas?
No.
Nope.
I have no idea who that is.
Hang on. I'm going to mute these people because they're making noise. And I just want to get Seth to get in. So, all right. So you're overseas. No Thanksgiving. You're not missing it or anything like that.
No, I was never a big Thanksgiving guy. And I'm not a big Black Friday guy either.
I don't know anyone who's in my listening audience that is, because Chad, I see you. I see you guys. That's the woman that stole Chad from us. Oh, we lost him. Oh, they're gone. So, I'm glad you came on, because not that I'm all about the happy day of the Thanksgiving and everything like that. I've been getting a lot of emails from clients of yours who took your digital marketing course and are now making money, and like you literally saved them and got them careers. I mean, while you're here, I mean, how's that going? Are more and more people taking it? Is it plateauing or?
It's going really well. It's great, man. I mean, there's never been more jobs available ever in the history. You know, there's now about 200,000 open digital marketing jobs on LinkedIn in the U.S. every single day.
Just the U.S.
In the U.S., it's about 600,000 worldwide. And I mean, you know, when I started in 2016, it was like 20 or 30,000. So we're talking about 10 times the amount.
It's like it's like them old Western movies where they're drilling for gold, and they take a toothpick and they put it in the ground, just shoots up oil. Yeah. It's
Well, what's happened, I will say this, what I've discovered is now I have more competition. There's all these colleges and these boot camps and these just posers out there charging a ton of money. Especially these master's degree programs and certificate programs are charging 15, 20 grand. There's a lot of these ISA programs. This is what you have to watch out for, is that there's a lot of programs where they'll say, hey, don't pay us anything up front, which seems like a really great deal, especially if you need a job, right? But what they do is you sign what they call an income sharing agreement. And what happens is I've had a lot of students come to me because they sign up for these programs. They learn very little in about 8 weeks. And then they take my program, and when you sign an income sharing agreement, it means that basically you give them permission to garnish your wages for 2 years.
Okay.
So in theory, it's basically say, hey, you don't pay us anything unless you get a job. But sometimes these agreements are very vague. And I've had people, the program that they signed up for didn't help them actually get a job. So they get a job through my program. And then they have to pay these other guys $13 or $15 or $20,000 for the next 2 years. So, you know, my program is still, and it's funny too, because I charge so little. I think people, you know, I'm raising the price next year because I'm like, you know, I think some people don't actually take it as seriously because they see everyone else charging $15,000, $20,000.
Yeah, they think you're the fly-by-night scam artist.
Right. Right. And that's the irony, you know, and I have more testimonials than any of these jokers, you know, and, you know, it's, but I understand that, you know, online courses have a bad reputation. There's a lot of jerks out there who do mislead people, but, you know, I still have great students. They're still getting jobs, you know, it's still not an overnight thing. It takes a lot of time to learn the skills. I say a lot of time. What I say is that it takes months. What it takes is months.
A full-time work, a full-time dedication.
Yeah, it doesn't take years. And that's the other problem with these programs I've seen that's so ridiculous is some of them, there's one like San Diego State University has one, and it's like a year-long program that is so bloated And these people go through these programs and they still don't get their hands on a real account. So the way that I approach this is I teach people a practical approach where you're actually getting your hands on like real clients and real accounts, and you do very little. You don't have to do a lot. You just have to do the right thing, the smart thing, and get some real experience. So it's much more valuable to get your hands on a real website or a real client account that's really small, like a local pizza shop. Than some of these. There's this software the colleges use. I swear to God, they have expensive simulation software that they use. And it's so similar to like an MBA program where they're like, what if you were CEO of Apple? What would your next product be?
Group projects. Yeah.
Right. And then these kids come out and they're like, well, I did a simulation of this thing. And then the person interviewing them is like, well, you ever actually worked with real money? What's real money? You know?
Well, and that's what I don't think a lot of younger people are getting is like the game has changed. Like of all the slow dinosaurs that are incompetent and inept, and you even talked about this. I don't know if it was your book or maybe we were just talking about it, where you were taking like a marketing class at a college or university, and it's all these old leftover 70-year-olds who think it's 1970 and there's no digital aspect to it anymore. And they're charging these kids thousands of dollars a class. You shouldn't even be going. It's like, oh yeah, us too, San Diego State or anyone else offering digital marketing. It's like, no, man. It's like, you need to learn these things. And how much are these colleges and universities like requiring you go take a bunch of prereqs that have nothing to do with it?
Well, are you talking about, so some of these colleges, again, they're putting together these boot camps and these, $15,000 programs that are, to their credit, I mean, they actually are supposed to be teaching the actual skill sets, but everyone I've spoken to who's ever done them has said they're not teaching it properly because colleges are designed to teach academic. They're not designed to teach things like a trade school. Right. You know, like my course, like practically you're getting so much theory. But if you do major in marketing, this is mind blowing. They still consider digital marketing an elective, like Swedish massage, like seriously, like literally Swedish massage, astrology, digital marketing.
Oh yeah. These are real classes. Yeah. Those are real classes in schools now. Right.
So I get these students who come out of school, and I've had some of my most successful students. David is one of my students who got a job like 3 years ago. Now he runs his own agency.
Good.
And he did marketing. I was like, what are you doing? What was he doing when he found my course? He was doing flyers. He was like doing like literally like flyers. And it's just like government. That's the thing with colleges. Colleges are like governments. They're these giant bureaucracies that are run by old, wealthy idiots.
Way out of touch old farts. Yep.
Yeah. And so the curriculums never get updated. And that's the other thing that's really funny is a lot of them use textbooks. And I'm like, dude, textbooks are, again, a bureaucratic thing. They're so slow and they're outdated about a month or it could be a week in this industry after they're printed. But it does blow my mind because I literally get these kids who are, their parents are pressuring them to go to school. They spend 4 years. And the degree includes things like microeconomics and like statistics, and which might be a valuable thing. I don't know how.
Yeah, but you could pick it up at the library for free. You don't need to sit there and waste your time and money in a class.
Yeah, but these classes they're a waste of time. Like I just interviewed somebody about to go on the college thing, guys. I started doing this. Like I have a student, Aditya, who is majored in information systems, which sounds like a smart major. But he was going off with me explaining how that was BS. Just the colleges they're not designed to prepare people for careers. I think it's just like it's a completely misleading way it's presented to people. So his information systems degree, he literally took like one class on these actual like database analysis, right? He had like one class in 4 years on the actual information systems things, and everything else is these bullshit, like you said, prerequisite programs and it was all theory. And his professor was literally like, oh, by the way, you should go get this certification and that certification from Microsoft. We're really not teaching you much. But that's how it is in marketing. And these guys in marketing are still learning about, traditional advertising, radio, TV, billboards. I mean, it's really insane. And I had one student, I think I told you, Nick, Nick Schulaner.
Yeah, of course.
Telling me he was at a party at his college. He's an engineering kid. And he said he mentioned Facebook ads to like a marketing major. And the girl was like, well, my professor said it's a fad.
A fad? It's been around for over a decade. What do you mean a fad?
Yeah. It's $1 billion fad.
$1 billion fad.
Yeah.
Multiple $1 billion fad.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, no, and that's why I appreciate you checking in every once in a while so I can remind my audience, because you have done a lot of people a lot of good work and a good deed. I mean, and what was it? It was something like $300 a month or something like that. I mean, it was dirt cheap compared to college, and bada boom, bada bing. If you do 3 months and I've seen it, like you literally get these, they even threw you a party, or they did a meetup over in New York. You were telling me one time, and they're all happy that you showed up, you know?
Well, it's really the community is really one of the unique things about the course. It's hey, Anthem. It's really awesome to actually meet people in real life because it's an online course. But yeah, what happened is I'd helped all these people, and everything's online, so nobody knows anyone in person. But I visited New York City back in 2018 when you could travel easily, and yeah, all these students wanted to meet me. We met up in Queens at this pizza shop, and we all hung out, and it was kind of mind blowing to meet all these kids who I've helped them change their lives just by giving them some practical advice. And now that community, I said I used to charge like a ridiculously little amount of money. Now it's about $800, which is still, they say it's less than an iPhone.
That's still cheap. That's still, compared to college, it is still a 1,000 times better deal.
Yeah. And but the community is so awesome now, and I've added like coaching calls. So you're getting like what these $15,000 boot camps charge you for like this very ridiculous price, and we get the support. There's coaches. My coaches are people who work in the industry. Like Nick is one of my coaches who's worked with Netflix and these giant companies, $1 million ad accounts, and he's in there. So you actually get to network directly with working professionals. Then my alumni, they come back to my group, my Facebook group, when they have job openings at their companies. They come right to the Facebook group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
So they're getting that networking that people say, oh, and go to college to network. It's like, well, if you go to undergrad to network, you're just going to meet other clueless young people. Whereas in this program, you actually meet working professionals,
Right. Well, I was going to say, I mean, you're at the stage now, and wasn't this like a side gig? Like you just kind of did this on the side and you had other projects going on. Like this wasn't your.
Yeah. I was, I've worked in the field for many years, and I just, I said, my friends and I said, I fell into this field when I was in 2011. I'm an art school graduate. I have a film degree that is a waste. And I was teaching myself digital marketing on the side. I taught a film course, and then I applied for a job and realized all these skills were needed. And I was at an agency, and I just kept getting jobs. And then I was like, I don't really want a job. But all my colleagues and I would talk about how nobody knows what we do, and recruiters are chasing us. I said, we're like the prettiest girl at the dance.
It's a weird feeling. It's a very weird feeling. Yeah.
And I was like, well, rather than try to teach people like how to make $10,000 in 2 days on Google, why don't I teach people how to get these jobs? Because I'd rather teach myself. I mean, I like teaching. I like being on YouTube and stuff rather than actually being a salaried employee. I thought, you know what? I bet you I can help a few people. And I had very low, I was like, you know what? Maybe I can help like a couple of people here and there. And then it worked, like I was convinced. I was like, if I could do this being an art school graduate, I can show other people how to do this. Because these guys, when I got my first job, I had no experience.
It's very interesting because if the previous generation before us hadn't done such a horrifically bad and inadequate job, I wouldn't even call it any kind of job. Like inadequate means there was like some effort. But if the previous generation had not lied, misled, wasted everybody else's time, you and me would be out of a job. We wouldn't have this. And now everyone's coming back. It's like they gave us this worthless operating system. It does not function in the real world. It's like, okay, here's some basic stuff. And it's not that they'll pay an arm and a leg, but they will, because what they're getting isn't working. And so, and I love, it's kind of like we're defeating evil, big education and Marxist leftist professor boomers. We're helping out younger people. We're salvaging what remains of our life, because you and I kind of wallowed around and wasted 10 years of our life in academia and trying to figure it out, and finally figured it out ourselves. And so, that's why and you're helping, especially poorer people who can afford 4 years of tuition in college. And it's like, boom, here you are. Even if it's 40 or 50 grand, that's enough for someone to live. And isn't Nick down in Peru or something now?
Nick? Oh,
yeah.
Nick Schuler?
Yeah. Or did he, or am I thinking of a different Nick?
I don't know. I mean, I have a lot of students who have traveled a lot of different places. I've had students who live in Southeast Asia and
right. But what I'm saying is they can travel and live wherever the heck they want because it's remote.
The remote
employment.
aspect. Yeah. But that's a good point, man, because that's something that I do rant about college a lot, because that's the thing that really bothers me is when lower income people think college is this ticket to a better life, and it's just a ticket to the same debt as the middle class.
Right.
And I have this is the funny thing too. I was talking about this with somebody. Is like I have effortlessly created a multicultural, diverse success group. Like I never targeted people based on some type of agenda to make it diverse. And one of my students who's from Ecuador, she was joking because she's been in the tech world and she's seen all these she's worked with all these diversity people. And she said how they they try so hard to like push this agenda. And she's just laughing about how with me, it's just been very natural. I got people from everywhere. I have people from the Black community, the Latino community, from the Asian community, the white, white, Black, whatever, men, women.
People like money.
Yeah.
They like money. Yeah.
Yeah. You can have you can have your people ask questions if you want. I don't know if this sounds like a sales pitch or something, but
no. I sincere that this isn't a promotion or an advertisement. I just think your background and what you've done is not just interesting and fascinating, but it's incredibly helpful. And you're also a friend of the show. Plus you're overseas. And I figure, you want to come in for the random, Cappy Thanksgiving hour or whatever. And then I did want to follow up. So now you're over in Thailand right now, and that may be a permanent move. I mean, not random, but not the standard slam on Western culture type of thing, but it's agreeing with you in Southeast Asia.
I like it over here. I mean, if it weren't for our little friend, I don't know what you call it, our root beer float friend.
Yes, our root beer float friend. Yes.
If it weren't for our root beer float friend, I would have been traveling more, and I probably would have come back to the U.S. But as it is, I mean, I haven't been inspired to return. And I also live on an island, which is.
I've heard. Yes. I know you live on an island. Yes. I know, Seth. You live on an island. You reminded me many times. Yes.
Yes. Although I'll tell you, we're in the rainy season. I guess every 3 years or so, the rainy season here is really bad, and it's been crazy. Like we've had floods, and it's like raining all the time, which reminds me of what it was like living in upstate New York growing up. So,
but the culture and you're doing fine down there. It's okay, and
guys, with the modernization, I mean, what's funny is, I am on a tourist island, right? So there's a little more English here than you'd get in the mainland. And, but ultimately with the internet, I mean, I'm using Food Panda. I'm on the internet all the time. The people are nice. I meet so many interesting people. There's not that many Americans here. There's a lot of Brits, a lot of Russians, a lot of French, Germans, but people, before I came to Asia, I really had this idea it was this really different place. It's just like the world's been modernized, I mean,
true.
This island is very interesting because it was like 20 or 30 years ago. It really was completely undeveloped. They didn't have roads now the Westerners came in, got roads,
internet, obviously
fast internet, we got fiber. We got, they built all this drainage on the main road because it was flooding. They were like, well, we need drainage. So they did that. And it's, I was like, if it weren't for me, I can forget that I'm here sometimes, especially if I'm watching an American movie or something.
Yeah.
The only thing really is, I kind of miss my family. I'd like to see them, but, and I'd like to visit my students and some other friends back home. But, I like it over here. Thailand, to me, I say it's like a second world country. It's not like some countries are really underdeveloped, and then you got the West. It's right in the middle.
Okay. All right. No, that's gonna be next on my to-do list. So, we also have Anthem here. Hello, Anthem.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, man.
Nothing
Long
much.
time no see, Seth.
I know. How have you been?
Pretty busy, you know me. Working too much.
Finish your degree yet?
3 more semesters.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, 3 more semesters, and then that nightmare is over.
What do you do after that? I mean, do you apply for jobs in the U.S. globally? What are you going to do?
Good question. I don't know. Maybe the U.S.
Well, your home country seems a little bit more free, land of the free, home of do what you want nowadays.
Yeah, but I cannot own a gun, and if someone wants to kill me, there's nothing I can do.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
No, it doesn't work for me.
Well, how's your health otherwise? I mean, I know you're doing your 90-hour work weeks and everything, but you all right? I mean, your health okay?
Oh yeah, things are fine. I'm even drinking a beer. See?
Yeah, no, I
Cheers.
know. Yeah.
No,
You and
so
Chad do
far,
more than that on the internet.
yeah.
Try
Well,
it.
things are-
Hey, Anthem, can you log in, log back out? You got a huge delay in your video versus audio.
Really? Okay, let me try that. Hold on.
Okay.
Give me a second here.
I don't know where Chad and his girl went. They kind of.
I don't really talk too much about this, but I was going to say, just back on I know you give a lot of advice to young men about dating and relationships, Cappy. And I mean, you know, if you're over here in Asia, it's a different, I mean, you have to watch out for certain things, but it is a different experience being a Western over here. I think there is a different level of kind of respect given, or there are some women who just like foreigners, and it's different. It's very different than being in the West.
Well, I'd imagine it's a completely different culture. I mean, Anthem, you were over in Thailand or Taiwan, and even though that's first world nation, I'd imagine it was more traditional or certainly different.
No, there was a little bit of everything. The older people tend to be more traditional, but the younger people obviously tend to be more open. But Taiwan was pretty nice. They always treated me nice. They like foreigners, not just Americans in general. So that's nice.
But is that out of curiosity or novelty, or do they actually like, ooh, I want me some Mexican dick, or I want some American Jew dick? I mean, what is it?
They're just friendly. Okay. Yeah, they're very friendly and open. And there's some ladies that just date people not from Taiwan, but they're the minority, I found.
Cool. Let's get through some super chats because this is going off the. I don't want to get too far behind. Nonstop Dre 360. Does Mexi Mike and Vlad Elkins have the same supplier? What you mean, Anthem?
I don't supply.
I don't understand any of that.
Sometimes Anthem and Chad. Sometimes, very rare, and by very rare I mean every other day. They'll say like, "Hey, you gonna do shrooms? You gonna do acid? You gonna do pot?" And sometimes they do all three, and then the text string gets very interesting thereafter. And I don't get a lot of the inside jokes because I don't partake
yet.
Colin Kircher, $5. Happy Thanksgiving. Better here with Gen X Cappy than with the normies, conformies, and inferiors. I imagine that's a lot of people like refugees trying to escape after the family meeting. Competent Man, $5. Hilarious news in energy sector. 1, EU still not letting Nord Stream to ship natural gas to the EU, and Germany is about to have a cold weather and snow this week. You guys paying any attention to this?
No,
I have not.
It's one of the nice things about. Go ahead, Seth. I don't really watch the news anymore, but I can't care about Europe if you refused. Didn't Putin even offer him gas? All they want to do was natural. Hang on, Seth, mute me if I think I'm getting feedback on you there. Check 1 check. There we go. I can't feel bad for these Europeans, let alone anybody else. That like, oh, we're going to do solar and wind, and it doesn't work, and now I don't know. It's such a sophomoric and stupid decision, and there's such a simple solution. Open up your gas exports, or imports rather. EU not letting Nord Stream to ship natural gas. Okay. Competent Man, I hope you're not in Europe. Competent Man again, $5 too. Biden releasing 50 million barrels from the what is that? Strategic Petroleum Reserve, but market already priced it in, so spot oil price rose. Then Russia. How's the inflation? Like, do they have any energy crisis down in Thailand, or do they have like their basic shit together down there?
Well, Thailand has its own stuff. I don't really comment too much on the government here.
Right. Oh, okay. Never
You
mind.
shouldn't.
I will say,
don't.
I mean, there's certain things. How can I say this? Like you talk about the root beer flow. I mean, there's certain things. Every place got its own issues, you know. Like,
Right.
I dated this young woman, and she is very political. And I thought, you know, the issues that they have with the government here. I mean, you just have to look at the last 20 years here. There's some things going on. And again, I'm going to be just as vague as you are with the root beer float.
Okay.
But as far as like infrastructure and inflation and stuff, I mean, the baht, like the currency here, has been pretty. I mean, it went down. Actually, it was weak recently, and that was good for foreigners
Right.
when we convert our money. Locally, there hasn't been much inflation. Like, I don't know the
Well,
economics.
it's not
of it.
even inflation. I'm just, in general, the West is so spoiled and so kuantahahi that we have little adult children actually thinking during wintertime we can just cut off carbon fuel or fossil fuels and carbon emitting fuels without like a transition or something like that. And now I don't know, how do you get to this point that you don't have heating gas or heating fuel in a first world nation? And the only way is that you were so spoiled and you so spoiled such a high percentage of your population that they actually think, oh, hobbies, yay, environmentalism. It's like, and that trumps reality and practicality. I would imagine Thailand, any second or third world country, they have to be imminently more practical and realistic, at least on the individual level. Sure, certainly there will be corruption in governments no matter where, but I guess that's a better question to ask you, Seth. Do the common Thai person on the common Thai people, do they seem more respective, more courteous, more logical? Like, yeah, you have to work. I mean, I can't imagine there's a welfare state where there's a ton of single moms.
Well, this is a very interesting. Asian culture is very different. I mean, like, for instance, when I was dating this Vietnamese woman, and we were discussing how there really aren't old age homes here, right? Because culturally, the elders are respected, and typically they live back with the family. So the whole
Did the elders tell you to major in marketing at San Diego State University in Thailand, or they maybe give a little bit better advice down there? Right. Okay.
Well,
all right.
This culture also, one thing I will say is, I mean, the Asian culture here, it is a much more traditional, and they really, you know, like, for instance, people here will wear masks, no question. There's no debate on the masks, right? There's just a very obedient, you know, and this has its pros and cons. You know, you get more of a homogenous kind of way of thinking about things, but you don't get the kind of, I would say, free thinking that we have in the West. And it has its pros and cons. I mean, you know, I see people, it's so funny. I'll see people on their motorbikes here wearing a mask and no helmet. And I'm like, I don't wear the mask on the motorbike because I'm like, this is absurd I'm riding at, you know, 60 miles per hour away from everybody. But as far as I mean, again, I'm not an expert on this, but it's just on this island, right? Everyone rides a motorbike. So the consumption because they're affordable. There's not, you know, there's cars, but it's more people ride motorbikes here than the motorbike usage in Asia is much higher because they're
It's warmer there too. I don't imagine you guys get
There's
snow
no
at
space either. You know, everything's smaller.
Yeah.
Hard to find parking.
Well, I think I mean, if you go to I mean, it's like America in that way. I mean, you know, you'll have, you know, big parking lots and stuff like that, depending on if you're in a big city or not. But here's the one thing I will say is I go over the political spectrum and different issues that I think like I was in Vietnam and I was realizing they don't have environmental regulations on the automobiles there, right? So there's no emission regulation. And what you get is this terrible pollution. And this is what it was like in the US in the 80s. You know, LA, the air was unbreathable.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
So to the government, you know, people rail against the government. And I can see that, especially when they try to like superimpose an ideal without a practical idea. But sometimes like people who just are for the free market, I'm like, I've been in country, you know, now I've actually breathed the air in a city where there's no, again, they don't have to do anything about the emissions. You can't breathe. You literally can't breathe the air. It's so disgusting. And that's what it was like in the US before they started regulating some of this stuff. And yeah, the cars are a little more expensive, but I'd rather be able to breathe and be able to see without smog than let the car companies just do whatever the hell they want. Cause they'll make it as cheap as possible if they can. And, you know, and the same thing was very interesting too in Vietnam, not in Thailand so much, but I remember they throw garbage everywhere. Like I couldn't believe it. I'd be in these beautiful areas. I know you're big into nature. I'd be in these beautiful, beautiful mountain areas. There'd be garbage all over the ground. And it's interesting culturally. It's like they just haven't. And it was similar in the 80s and the 70s in the US. Like people just littered.
Sure, you drive down the highway. Yeah.
And there was a campaign that to just like change people's way of thinking, to be like, hey guys, maybe we shouldn't throw garbage on the ground. We actually had a friend in China who was teaching and started to teach people in China how to clean up garbage. Don't throw it on the ground. And they were actually arrested.
Really?
Arrested for teaching like Western ideas. And then they left China. They were like,
I just want to point. Well, hang on. I got a question. Anthem, down when I was in Cancun, that brief moment, there wasn't any littering either. Am I wrong? I just didn't go to the right part of Mexico.
You didn't go to the right part of Mexico.
Okay. All right. Never mind.
Yeah. No, you probably stayed in the Hotel Sun, which was a good idea. And we really take care of that area. Yeah, because we want tourists to think that, oh, Cancun is wonderful. I mean, it is. That part is. The rest, not so much.
Well, I didn't mind the interior either. Although, see, when I did a motorcycle ride, again, it could have been just because it was close to the United States. But I think the town was Scioto. It was on the other side of Ajo, across from Arizona.
Oh, this is in the north. Okay.
Yeah, it's in the north. And it was right there on the Sea of Cortez, that armpit, Puerto Peñasco. Now, I know that's a tourist spot. I know they probably cleaned that up. But the border town was actually kind of clean. I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh, okay, this isn't too bad. But the irony I wanted to point out to all the Marxist, leftist, environmentalists that tune into the show, you know, all three of them, I've always found it interesting that when communists take over, whether that was the Soviet Union, China, Vietnam, the environmental regulations go to pot. There's not. I mean, you had Chernobyl. China's got a huge pollution pot. Didn't they have to like start aerating something in anticipation of the Olympics like 5 years ago, or you know, it was like very bad, like don't go outside type of level bad?
I would say, I mean, yeah, Vietnam and China are communist governments, and yeah, I mean, yeah, I think in China they've started to change things because they've seen it's not livable.
Right.
Like you can't have your population choking to death. But yeah, I guess if you're gonna, those communist governments are not, they're not doing a good job. I mean,
right.
I think I know how much you love nature, and I think that's what really messed me up, is because I'm a guest. Like I don't like to complain about stuff when I'm a guest in a country, which is why I don't say anything here.
Right.
But I was visiting it was more in Vietnam. I just couldn't believe it. I was really triggered by that. I was like, dude, this is crazy. And it wasn't just like, oh, there's a little bit here. I mean, it's like it was everywhere. It was everywhere. I couldn't believe it. I was in Dalat, which is in the central part of the country. Now, you know, I have friends that love Vietnam and live there. I know, Matt's over there, and I mean, you know, I'm sure maybe in the cities, I don't know. I just was in an area where I was seeing this, and I was kind of studying it. And then I also I did understand from the American standpoint that these countries like India and China are the biggest polluters, and India and China have the most polluted rivers in the world. Toxic. And it is frustrating because you say people in the West, they keep like, we've done our job. It's kind of like feminism. I was like, feminism did its job in the US. It did its job.
No, it's not done with us yet, Seth. It still has other aims. But
they're squeezing the balls that are already been, you know, clipped. And then you got South America and, you know, Africa and these other countries and parts of the world where there's no feminism. And I'm like, well, they could use a little, you know, so they're not like, you know, completely
genital mutilation. Yeah, no, there's some horrific shit
they
going
need
on.
Some equality, but it's an imbalance. So yeah, rather than just keep tightening the things on Europe and in the US, like let's make India and China, you know.
Yeah, but that would require women actually do some real work and go over and actually be here. It's much easier to just complain and make. There is one thing though, and it's not even so much. I mean, pollution. I hate litter bugs, especially when I go hiking. It actually does perturb me as much as you suspect it would. But I understand pollution and communism and corruption and government and all that other stuff. As I'm getting older, it's more and more important to me, like the people. Like, okay, so Mexico, for example, not just because Athem's here. And the great thing about Mexico is they already got rid of Anthem. So now I do kind of want to go to Mexico. So now it is somewhat of an attractive proposition. But okay, you got the cartels. Yeah, there's corruption. I just want to know if the people are courteous, civil, and frankly, it's not even polite, but that they dress and they carry themselves with a certain amount of etiquette. I think we lost Seth. Where I go there and it's not a bunch of fat, disgusting people, male or female. And that's kind of my curiosity, whether it be Thailand, Taiwan, Mexico, or any other country, is if I go there, will my individual interactions with the people there be better than it is in the United States? Because right now in the United States, at best, it's someone who's boring and you really wouldn't want to hang out with that person. At worst, it's an ideologue, a zealot, almost a religious fanatic, ideologically aligned with the left that hates your guts if you don't exactly believe in their particular pet cause. So, and we lost Seth, but
I guess it depends where you go in Mexico, for example. I mean, if you go to a semi-cosmopolitan city, you find more higher class people that know more shit. If you go to a small town, a really small town, yeah, you're gonna find the kind of people that you find here in the U.S. And I feel bad saying that.
Hicks? I mean, good or bad? No, I mean, what do you mean? Like, if I go to a small town, they're more traditional, or what?
Well, yeah, but they're also ignorant. You know, yeah.
Like what? Jose comes out with his shotgun and says, "Are you looking at my daughter?" type of thing, or
no? They just don't know shit, man. Man, I feel so bad saying this, but yeah, I don't like hanging out with people from the small towns in Mexico that much. You know.
Okay. Well, it'd be like they're Wyoming, like
Mexican hillbillies. Imagine.
Okay.
That.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. They will think that I'm a stuck-up son of a bitch. You know, usually that's how it goes. You know, because I'm from the city.
I dropped off there for a minute. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're back, Seth.
You know, obviously I'm not from here, but as a visitor, I would say I do feel that this part of the world, the people are quite warm in a different way than I experienced in the West. One of the things I found about Thailand, I'll just say this because, you know, I've heard everyone has a different opinion. It's funny, you talk to 5 different foreigners, they'll say this place is good, this place is bad. One of the things I found about Thailand is that, you know, there's a big language barrier here. The Thai language is very difficult for Westerners. And what I found is some people think, like in other, they'll say, I've heard people say Vietnam is friendlier, but I don't think that's true. What I found with Thailand is that a lot of Thais are a little bit shy with Westerners because of the language barrier. Okay. And what I've discovered was when I started learning Thai, and I only speak a little bit, but if I make an effort just to speak a little bit of Thai, people light up. They're so warm. They're so appreciative. And I even spoke Thai to a few people, and I don't speak well at all. I can just say hello and thank you, and maybe nice. I learned how to say nice to meet you. You know, Yindi Ti Da Ruja crap. And they're, whoa, a Westerner took the time to learn our language a little bit. And people are very nice and welcoming. You know, I have people, you know, I live here alone in this place. I've had like the local staff. I chat with them. They'll invite me to a party, and I ask them, does anyone speak English? And they'll say no. And I'm like, well, maybe I'll.
Seth, you have to go just to tell us what that's like. Yeah. That would be very interesting to see.
I should. I can be a little hermit-like, but no, the people are very. I would say it's different, and you know, I'm in a rural area, so I think what Anthem said. I mean, the people are, you know, where people aren't as educated, and I don't feel like the thing about Southeast Asia that I like is that, I mean, there's really very little crime here, and
right. Yeah. Well, see, and that's what I'm trying to like. I want to go to a place where the country is mature. They don't have to be super intelligent, but just civil. And maybe they comport themselves with a little bit of class and modesty. So if I go to Thailand, okay, fine, it's chaos and everyone's on their motorbikes. But am I going to see a ton of single moms? Am I going to see like a bunch of panhandlers? Or is everybody hustling and moving and shaking and doing their job?
Well, I mean, in the big cities, it's very well. Here's what I will say: there are a lot of single moms here. I mean,
there are.
Yeah. I mean, you know, there's a lot of. You know, I think across the planet, people get knocked up and then get out of relationships. But one of the differences here, I was talking with one of my other friends here, is that, I mean, there's big family support here, big families. And so what will happen a lot of times is like if a young woman has a daughter, you know, the grandparents will raise the kid, or there's a whole structure in place to help her out so that she can continue. I don't know. It's not like the grind of the single mom in the West that I've seen for the most part. But I don't know. I think it's worth exploring. I mean, there's pros and cons. There's definitely, I don't think there's as much of as an entitlement. And I'm amazed, you know, to see the folks around here that live on very modest lifestyles, you know. There's definitely not the same type of arrogant, like pontificating, like attitude that I've encountered. I think but I will say this: I dated a young woman who was out of university, and she was very westernized, you know, and she was Thai, and she had a lot of opinions about the government, and she was, you know, but I kind of liked that because she was intelligent and she was, you know, but she had a bit of that, you know, stupid arrogance, that kind of intellectual.
Yeah, see, I don't know. And maybe I'm just getting old. And Anthem, I think you and I are going to the same place. And Seth, maybe you may be a little bit more of an international traveler, but as I get older, I kind of just want to be left alone in my hut and be able to walk down to the local grocery store or you know, market or bazaar, grab my food, and know that the society is not going to go to shit, or they're going to come after me with pitchforks because I voted, you know, yes on proposition whatever, like that Brendan Ike guy. You know, just I'm sick of being guilty in my home country by a self-declared group of self-righteous Nazi assholes, essentially, because I don't believe in one thing or the other, and they view it like I'm an evil person and now I need to be killed or ostracized to the point that I can no longer function, whether that's the root beer float or I believe in low taxes or I mean, it's to the level, it's like I'd say culturally here in the United States, people are getting to the point they're all mentally ill. And I just don't care to live in an insane society like this.
I would say I feel like everyone in the U.S. is kind of like the Costanzas on Seinfeld. They're just like constantly yelling at each other. But what I'll tell you, Cappy, is, I mean, you know, you might want to give it a try. I mean, these countries, like right now, they're really looking for tourists, you know, and they do treat tourists and Westerners very well. But what I'll tell you is this: one of the reasons I like being out of the country is because I did experience, it was almost like coming out of a unhealthy relationship. Like once you get out of the country, I can't really explain it. It was more on like a mental level, like something just fades away. The American, the feeling of being in America, which is, I know when I come back, it's going to be a real culture shock to come back, because you really, when you're in the U.S., I mean, you really feel like we're the center of everything, and then you get out of the country and you're kind of like, oh, we're not. Yeah, I mean, you know, we influence everything, but it just fades away. And I could go weeks without talking about what's going on in the U.S. here. Nobody here cares about that, and you know, I bring it up. You know, I got a Canadian friend over here, and we talk about these things from time to time. And you know, if I turn on the news or I tune into your podcast, I'm present to it. But it's almost like on a spiritual level, you're just not around it as much. It's not in the air. You know, like people just aren't talking about any of these things. Like people, it's because
it's not at the center of their life. And see, that's why I'm trying to back off. Like I rarely talk about politics or economics anymore. I prefer philosophy. But man, nobody else in this country's got anything going on except for what the news tells them to have going on in their life. So I'd like to find a place where, you know, they're just happy they got a new moped or something like that. So,
well,
do you guys know this guy?
Yeah, unfortunately.
What's up, Bacon?
Hello,
Bacon. You there?
You're muted, Bacon.
You're muted, Bacon. There. We still can't hear you, Bacon. I didn't mute him, did I?
Nope, he's not.
No. I think he's out. No, he's still. Is he all right?
I think his microphone is not working or something.
Maybe he can't hear us. Bacon, come back in. I'm going to boot you out. Come back in, all right? Is he in his car?
He was.
How does he have that set up? I've seen him in his car before. What does he do? Record from his phone?
Probably.
And he live streams like that?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'm too old. Is that possible?
You are.
Yeah,
yes,
okay,
it is.
Yeah.
I can live stream from my phone now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you youngins with your thing. Let's get through some more super chats while we wait for Alex Patino, a truck driving Latino agent in the field. Happy Thanksgiving, Cappy. I'm driving to Crane, Indiana. Now you made my evening less boring. Actually, let's look that up. Where is Crane, Indiana? I've never heard of that.
There's a lot of caves in Indiana, by the way.
Is that part of that whole Mammoth Cave, Ohio River kind of system, or how did they get all those caves down there?
I don't know how. I'm not a geologist, but I know there's a lot in there. I would like to visit Indiana sometime.
Yeah, we got to go find that cave I found over in Deadwood. All right, where are we? I'm pulling this back.
Anthem, are you spelunking still?
So I'm still part of that group. I haven't been able to do it that much now because of how busy I am. Yeah, I'm still the vice chairman in my caving club.
I'll say this to you, Cappy, when we're talking about nature dudes. What you should do, you get out of the country, you go to the Philippines, if that ever becomes travelable again. You got to go canyoneering. Have you ever been canyoneering?
I've gone, yes, but not professionally with ropes or anything like that. They got canyons over in the Philippines?
No. I'm sorry. I think the word, maybe I didn't use the right word. It's really just hiking through these like amazing, it's specific to the Philippines, these amazing lakes that look like the ocean. They're blue water. And you spend like 2 hours just jumping up and down these mountains, diving through pools and everything.
So wait, I go, you're confusing me. Okay, so I go to a lake and I swim to a mountain across from the lake, or what are you talking about?
No, it's just like a hike through a really cool landscape. That's all. They say canyoneering because there's a lot of like jumping down into like pools and then swimming across and I'll send you some pictures or videos of when I did it. I think it's
usually canyoneering means like there's a canyon and you go down into it, but you need ropes and rappelling. That's the and there may or may not be water.
Not enough canyons in the Philippines, I believe.
No, that's not what I meant. But also, I think Vietnam has like the biggest cave on the planet, doesn't it?
Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they found it not too long ago.
Like when we say big, are we talking like volume, or are we talking mileage of passageway?
Probably both.
Okay.
I don't know how big it is right now.
By volume.
Seth, mute your thing when we're talking, or put on some headphones.
It's called Hang Son Dong or Dung. I don't know.
No. Now here's a question for you, Anthem. Do countries really exist unless there's caves there?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Just do. What if there's cute redheads in these countries but no caves?
Their territories then.
Their territory.
Yeah.
All right, let's get through some more super chats. Unifrog, 10 Australian dollars, more money from Unifrog. Thank you. Over our holidays are increasingly Americanized. We used to not have Halloween, but now we see all the crap in the shops just after Easter. Thanksgiving is getting popular. I can understand exporting Halloween because that's a fun. I mean, who doesn't like Halloween? But I don't know. There should be like specific Australian holidays based on kangaroo boxing or something like that. Not just like, oh, we're going to take this one. Because there's no historical background to that. So, Anthem, there's got to be like a unique Mexican holiday. Not Cinco de Mayo, but something unique. Day of the Dead, maybe?
Yeah, Dia de los Muertos. That's my favorite one.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's that? What about? Like just
pretty much
you passed, or
right? You honor your dead by making like a shrine with food and drinks, and so supposedly that's because they come to visit that day. So that's for them, like a gift for them. Okay. So they have something to eat, pretty much.
What's her name? Mary Jo, who may or may not show up. She was like 2080. Because she's like going to the nursing home to help out with the elderly. Not even her family. She's just going to the nursing home to help out. I'm like, oh, yeah, you're probably a better person than me. Maybe you don't have to come to the podcast. That's all right. But that's like her favorite holiday. And she ain't even Mexican. She's Dominican. And
the sugar skulls, they're really, really nice. And the bread of the dead, that's my favorite bread ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you ever tried that, huh?
No, I'm all for it. Yeah, I could try food, but I've never seen somebody so excited about Day of the Dead. Like she's more giddy than a kid at Christmas. So I was kind of surprised. I didn't know if there was like something really awesome that happens on Day of the Dead aside from food and celebration and costumes.
Yeah, it's just pretty much food. No, we don't wear costumes. That's more of an American thing. That's more like Halloween. Okay. Yeah.
All right, let me scroll down, make sure. Let's get through this. We'll bring on Bacon again. Bacon, can you hear us now?
I can hear you. Is this damn thing working now?
There we go.
Now we hear your wonderful baritone voice.
with only the finest audio quality a phone can give. Yes.
No, he's got a microphone next to his mouth. Don't you
Yeah,
see
and
it?
it's not fucking working. This damn thing is a fucking headdress, apparently.
Oh, never mind.
I don't know.
Never mind.
Well, what's up, Bacon? How you doing?
Oh, just great. I'm in between my folks' place and the next place I was headed is going to a friend's place for Friendsgiving or whatever the hell they call it.
Hmm.
My folks just had to go to the hospital, so.
Oh, hopefully nothing serious, or is it bad?
Well, I mean, she's had to have I don't know, she's had to have kidneys basically like replaced. So I think those got inflamed or infected or something.
So your ma had a kidney transplant?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. And then they're not taking, or they just, I guess, regular things that happen with
No,
the transplant?
she's had like it's been a while since she's gotten them. Just like I guess every once in a while something just goes wrong with them. So yeah, they're headed to good old Seattle to to get that treated.
Okay. Well, I hope your mom works. You're drinking in there. Are you in a garage or something, or at your home, or what?
I am in I'm in a rental. Let's just say this month has not been very kind to me.
Well, I hope things are going better. Did we at least get you a couple hundred subscribers?
You did, dude. Yeah, I really do appreciate that, man. Like, yeah, I'm getting close to like 500 or something.
See, but that's what okay, look, I got DT 1,000 because, let's be honest, everyone wanted to smite him and force him to drive me to the airport. Whereas you're a guy who could really use the monetized channel. I mean, you bust your ass off. You didn't exactly come from the, you weren't born on Mercer Island, or for those of you, that would be Winnetka from the Midwest. If people could please subscribe to your channel, it's the goddamn Bacon. I mean, go there and subscribe just so you could, because you God almighty, your podcasts are going like 5-6 hours long.
Oh yeah, that's Friday night shit show, whatever.
Well, can you tell us what's going on that's so bad, or you rather keep it private? I don't mean to expose you to the universe, but I mean, basically we're your friends, so we kind of care.
Well, no, it's like long and short of it is like I was down for a couple of months, or I was in a rental for a couple of months for various reasons. It's like like I mean you know that you and DT actually did a show about this about a year or two ago. Like check engine light comes on, and basically that just means like just some emissions BS.
Right, your O2 sensor is off. Yeah.
So it's different when the oil light comes on. So if your oil light comes on and you have oil in there, that either means there's the sensor itself is bad, or you're not getting oil pressure. That's very serious. So basically I had to get flatbedded out of Seattle. So the timing set was bad or something like that. And they gave me this runaround, like, your car is old, you could take the money and put
that's
down
not the
payment
runaround.
on
Your
a
car,
new car or something.
They weren't lying, Bacon. Your car is old. I mean, how was it, like a 94 or something?
Oh, yeah, it's got like 400,000 something miles on, but the engine was basically, it was basically I had a brand new engine in it. So, like, okay, like, what they did was like they told me, like, hey, just see if you can find an engine or something. Like that'd be easier to just drop an engine in. So I actually listened to them for a bit, like called around, saw all kind of engines. Like it's basically the best one I could find. It had like 20 or 30,000 miles more than the one that I had, and God knows what condition that was in.
So,
by the time I come back, it's like everybody like. They're basically like 2-3 months out.
Oh God!
They had to flatbed it out to an engine specialist.
Hold it.
He was like 2 months out from getting it handled.
Right. So here's my question: why don't you just go? I mean, I know money would be an issue, but is there a cheap car place? Like after all this stuff, wouldn't it just be easier to go find like a piece of junk car to get by, at least for winter?
Well, shit, I might just have to do that because basically the fucking oil pump went, and yeah, the engine went soon afterwards, and I had to get flatbedded off the freeway.
Yeah, you're going to incur more costs. Hang on, give me a second. You're going to incur more costs fixing that darn thing than you are getting a new one. I mean, there's got to be like a salvage vehicle shop nearby where you can get a car on the cheap.
I don't know. I might have to do that, man. It's either that or just find like an old motor to get me by until I can get something else done.
Okay.
I mean, the thing that really pissed me off was I took pretty damn good care of that engine and everything else that was in it.
Mm.
I mean, it had a few other things going on with it, but Jesus Christ, that you do everything right and things still go wrong.
Welcome to you. Just getting that now?
Tell me about it.
Yeah, look at Anthem. My God, it's just, it's
man. It's just a constant barrage of problems after problems, man. That's what you do.
I guess I have to know a little something about that.
Yeah.
Well, it's so bad. Like, I was shocked. I'm not kidding. Like, you guys want to hear my victory today? What I'm thankful for, even though I don't believe in that. What am I thankful for? Not much. Because there ain't much to be thankful for, to be perfectly honest.
Well, you don't have cancer.
I mean, yeah, I guess I don't have cancer,
Right?
right? I mean, I still have both my feet. I mean, we can, your mom would argue, you're at least not blind and crippled and living in Africa. It's like, yeah, I suppose not, Mom, but, it still doesn't exist. But, so I got an Oculus Quest, right? And I've been effing with an Xbox One and Xbox 360 and getting these video games, and there's always these updates. Like, you can't play your video games because the Xbox is always updating. And then if you want to play this game, it has to download updates for the video game. And it's just become this tedious nightmare to play a video game because basically I work all day, most of the night. And then, okay, now I'm going to relax and chill. I don't want to go drive around. Just want to sit and play a video game. So you're coming up to this point where you got maybe an hour before you go to bed. And then the game's going to download for 2 hours. And it's just this incredibly frustrating experience where you can't even relax or engage in a vice. It'd be like there's a full bottle of Rumplemans, you take off the thing, and as you pour it, it evaporates away. None of it ever makes it into the glass, let alone your mouth. And so it was quite agitating. I know it sounds like a petty thing, but it's very agitating when your one little vice or bit of fun is taken away, and then you just go to bed anyway. Well, I downloaded a game on my Oculus Quest, and I'm like, okay, what fuckery is going to be involved in this? Am I going to have a password, a username? Is it not going to work? It's going to take 8 hours to download. All I wanted was a golf game. So I dropped $20 on it, downloaded, and guess what happened?
It worked.
It worked. And I'm not kidding. I was excited that it worked. I'm like, oh my God, I don't have to log in. I don't have to come up with a username or a pass name or anything like that. It just worked. And yeah, man, that's it. That's the world we live in. Like literally 90% of the time, things do not work the way they're supposed to.
Remember back in the day when you just bought a video game, you put it inside your console and it just worked? No patches required?
Yeah.
Those were the good old days.
I have a PS4. I've never had that issue. I mean, I guess I do have to download updates from time to time, but I mean,
I know what Cappy is doing. My updates download while I'm sleeping. So I don't know, Cappy. Maybe you might want to look into that.
A lot of it is I don't turn it on. Like the past 9 months, I've been working so much that like I'll turn it on, and there was one day where it was like literally 5 hours of updates. That have been backlogged. So I understand that. I talked about this called the veneer of possibility or the veneer of potential. Where I'll give you another example. I go to Menards, which is a Home Depot out here, and literally about 40% of the stuff you buy from Menards will break or doesn't work when you buy it. And it's incredibly frustrating because Bacon, you got a new engine in the car. This should work, but no. And just one thing doesn't have to work. And if you look at your life is no different than a car. A car has a lot of moving parts. So does your life. And whereas in a car, okay, if the interior light doesn't work, it's not the end of the world. So, okay, your garage door doesn't work, it's not the end of the world. But there's a lot of key and critical components to your life, like your job or your health or your lodging or anything else like that. And yeah, man, it's all 5,000 components have to work the way they're supposed to. Otherwise, life is not livable. And it's certainly agitating and annoying, but that's been my experience. Even when times are good, it's still this agitating, grinding experience.
Yeah, that's my experience as well. You know, something breaks, and then you go move into solve the problem, and then something goes wrong as well, and then you have to fix the problem of the problem.
No,
it never ends. Yeah.
No, it doesn't. So, but anyway, for everyone, if you would subscribe to Bacon, help them out. I mean, because I won't lie, if you have money, money does solve problems. It won't make you happy, but it solves problems. And Bacon's been
Why don't you? Can you give people his YouTube channel?
Yeah, the goddamn Bacon. Yeah, search the goddamn Bacon on YouTube, and you'll find it, and you subscribe it. And he has a good show too. Yeah, he has a good show too. Although when you get those Southern boys in there and they're all loud and Southernly, I mean, they're like the Duke boys from Dukes of Hazzard. It's like, oh, wait, okay, I better listen to this during the day when I'm not falling asleep.
I tell them about that. They got a real kick out of that.
Yeah. All right, let's get to some more super chats so we don't fall too far behind. Forum for 20 generous Canadian dollars. What are your thoughts on cryptocurrency versus mining versus trading, buying? You see value in one or the other given the chip shortages? I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I mean, if I would presume, you know, this would be like a mechanic question. Like if you're already a mechanic or you got the tools, well, yeah, obviously you'd fix your own car. I mean, if you have the gear and the equipment, maybe because the capital expenditure has already been done, but I don't know what's more cost beneficial. And then buying, trading, like I don't know any buyers or traders that actually make money. If that's like how you plan on profiting off of it. Because most people, they don't know what they're doing because they can't predict the future. So trading, no. Buy and hold, like investing, long-term investing, yes, I could see that. That's easier. But
can I weigh in on this for a second?
Sure, please, Seth. Go ahead.
I can't. I don't know. I'm not an expert on crypto trading or buying, but one thing that was interesting is I did get caught up in the whole mining thing for a bit, just because I happen to have a NVIDIA. I have a really good laptop with a nice graphics card, and I found one of these. I kind of got sucked into that rabbit hole of mining because I was using NiceHash, and then I discovered all the mining. You know, you can buy those dedicated machines that are just for mining. And I did all the calculations, and I kind of got caught up in all that and got excited because you start thinking, oh my God, it's basically like printing free money, right? You just leave your computer running, and you're making Bitcoin by helping them complete these equations. It's a very small amount of money. What I did is I actually thought about investing in some of these machines as well. I could buy a computer here, or you can buy one of these machines. And you kind of, when you do the math, I mean, I guess you just have to look at the math. And once you look at the amount of power you have to expend on the machine itself and the amount of time it has to run, I mean, that's really where you have to look at the equation. I got really excited for about 2 or 3 days. And I said, this is like everything else. It's going to take about maybe 6 months, 7, 8 months to recoup your initial investment in the equipment. And then it's all, you know, I think if you think that the currency is going to continue to go up, then it could be a good investment. You just have to think about the actual, I think, practical, like the other thing was I said, do I want to have a machine on my property running 24/7? Like there's incredible amount of noise that comes from these machines. When you're running them. I don't know and there's companies now where you can outsource it, where you'll pay them for it. It's a whole rabbit hole. I'm not an expert on it at all, but I don't know. I thought it was very interesting. I could see where people get into that for sure.
Yeah. And it's fun too. I mean, that's like, if you're an intellectual person, that sounds like a really cool hobby or project to get into. Like, oh, I got to build like a supercomputer or something like that. But in terms of cost benefit, when people are moving to different countries because of their electrical costs, and that's how they're going to make a profit, then you're kind of like, yeah, this market is pretty filled with competitors. And I don't know if there's a lot of profit potential for rookie Joe to come in and kind of bang out some money.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Like, I mean, you guys know who Avo American is?
Of course. Yeah. Over in Germany.
So I think that's one of the things he does. Like, he has like a whole, you know, Bitcoin, you know, mining rig or something. Like, I mean, I know it's supposed to be like a set amount, and you know, I guess by this point, you know, most of that stuff has been mined out, so to speak. So, I mean, you really are starting to get to the law of diminishing returns, you know, to the point where, geez, like, I mean, is the amount of electricity that you're burning, you know, is that even going to be offset by whatever you're producing?
All right. When I'm and Abu, he works a real job during the daytime as a construction guy. So I'm sure this is probably more of a hobby or just a little, you know, he tosses a line in the water. Maybe he catches a fish, maybe not. But yeah, no, I look, guys, I'll tell you this, there's nothing wrong with making a lot of money on crazy investments, or a new investment comes along, you toss a couple $100 on it because it is gambling. And it's fun and it's interesting. But if this is how you're going to make money, no, guys, it's not exciting stuff how you make money. You major in chemical engineering, you major in accounting, you do not major in finance. You know, you don't major in art, as Seth will tell you. And then if you're going to do something outside of the traditional things, you got to do something that's in demand. You go do digital marketing, you help people get jobs, that kind of thing. I mean, even and I'll admit right now, this shtick I do, it's not even shtick, but this is luck. You know, I was the right guy at the right place, and I did a lot of work, and I was present on the internet. But, you know, I'm going to become a YouTube personality or sensation, or I'm going to become you're more reliable to get money as an OnlyFans girl than you are any kind of crypto trader, currency trader, or the male equivalent of that. And for the amount of time and effort you're going to spend, you know, setting up a mining rig or trading stocks options, bro, or flipping houses, just go become a plumber, you know, just go deliver Uber Eats or something. And and if you do that long enough, you're going to all of a sudden be in a very good financial position. So, you know, all this stuff should be hobby. You know, that's how I started this. This was a hobby. I didn't I'm going to go and get like, did you guys see, I don't know how much you guys watch the consultations I do. Did you see the one where the guy had his master's in piano?
Well, I saw it. I left a super chat in that one.
Yeah. So his okay, so I'm going to teach, and I'm going to work a real job. And I didn't want to mention what it was, but it was a real job he's doing. He's like, but I'd like to become a life coach and use music to help people in the red pill. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, kid.
He was what, 24?
Yeah, he's like 24. It's like, just tell me you're lazy without telling me you're lazy. It's like, guys, knock it off. Your time is incredibly precious. Invest your time in things that have a payoff, even if it's something like fixing your own car, building your own home, because you're saving money there. But I'm going to buy a rig and I don't really know what I'm doing, and maybe I'll make money, or I'm going to invest in Beanie Babies. Like, guys, just I mean, it's male astrology. It's male tarot card reading. Knock it off.
I think, you know, what you do and what I've done is, I mean, I really believe everything comes down to providing value to people, which is why the crypto shit kind of does drive me a little nuts, because I'm like, it is just gambling. There's not really, the people who are creating the systems I just met a guy this week actually who has a crypto coin, fear.io. And I think it's fascinating what he's doing. But most people are just trying to kind of chase after money. And I think the advice you're giving is really good. I think you do provide a lot of value to people. That's why you've done well. But I was going to point out the other skill set is marketing and sales. If you do want to start your own thing, and it should start as a hobby, I agree with you. Like I tell people, start it, you know, have your foundational income. And then if the dude wants to be a life coach with music or whatever, he can do it if he learns how to market it and sell it to people. And that's where people have a disconnect. Like sales and marketing is that one of those number one skill sets.
Right. But let me ask you this. Shouldn't there also be an authenticity to it? Like, he's a 24-year-old dipshit kid who lives at home with his parents. Right. He pissed away hundreds of thousands $150,000 on a worthless career. What possible advice could he give? Like, I've gone through the ringer. I've made tons of mistakes, but I've also recovered from it. Anthem is, you know, the reason I have Anthem as like, if I pass away, Anthem gets asshole consulting. He's gone through the ringer. He knows, he's come from the school of hard knocks. He can actually dispense this advice. So if someone comes up with this situation, I hate these fucking fake life coach, self-declared assholes coming in. I'm a fucking loser and a failure, but I'm going to tell you how to live your life. It's like, oh, go fuck yourself. And so I can understand the salesmanship and the quality of marketing, but don't you have to be authentic, or the product have to be real?
I agree 100%. I mean, you don't have to, because there are a lot of those shitheads who, I see this all the time in the online course world. People, they're really good marketers and they're shitty people, and they still can sell. But I didn't really think about it from that perspective, but you're right. I mean, I tried to do like stuff like that in my 20s, and it was the right thing. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So what business did I have, giving people advice? Now in my 30s is when I started this course, and I had gone through, as you said, the ringer really, and I had a lot to share with people. But yeah, I do think that's a problem. And that's, there's a lot of posers. There's a lot of people out there who have no business coaching. But what we're all saying is, I mean, the perspective people are coming from is just screwed up. If anything, I always tell people, if you just skip college in the first place, you've already saved money,
Oh yeah, at least 50 grand. Yeah.
But I think it's all about building something. That's what you're really speaking to, I think. Is like, yeah, kid's 24. It's like, okay, well, yeah, get your shit together. Maybe actually get your own life together, and then start, doing this thing on a small scale. I also think a lot of younger people will have these like dreams of being millionaires, and they don't have any direct connections. Like make $1,000 before you make $1 million.
Well, I want to get rich. I want to get Rich in here. Rich, we got echo.
Oh, you
maybe it's no, it's like it's you, Rich.
That's me. Hold on a sec. I'll switch over to my laptop for a minute.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I want to get Rich in on this because he like everyone else on the Rule Zero group. Everybody else had real world experience, and they happened into this. And I think Rich, especially with the clientele he's had, he gets pissed. I want to hear him about the posers. We'll go through some super chats though. In the meantime, play catch up here. Darius Thurman, $10 request for the brothers. Meta Facebook is doing a digital marketing scholarship to help over 100,000 Black people get in the industry. Seth, can you review it and make a video?
I'll look into it. I don't know what this is. I've helped more Black people get into the industry than Facebook at this point. I'll say that much. I mean, I have an incredibly high percentage of minority students, and I think it's a great skill set. We'll see what these guys. Facebook is doing a digital marketing scholarship. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they're effective in their teaching. I've seen a lot of these big programs, even like Udacity. They claim to have all these testimonials. Maybe they do. They don't provide first names and last names or the companies people are working for. So I don't know, if they're, because the problem, I don't know what Facebook's going to actually be teaching. They usually don't teach the actual resume interview, how to actually get the job part of the process, which is why my course is different. Because most people say, hey, this is how Facebook ads work. This is how Google ads work. Good luck. They don't teach you how to actually communicate it to a hiring manager or how to get a client or anything like that. But who knows? Maybe it'll be effective. I'll take a look into it.
Alex Patino for $10, who's down in Indiana somewhere. Just so you know, the reason there's a driver shortage is because most companies pay shit. Them companies try to keep you at $1,000 a week or less, and the better company will pay $1,500. So there's a huge turnover. Out of curiosity, Alex, I mean, you don't have to do another super chat, but I'm kind of curious why. This is a question I've had for most employers. We got high turnover. I'm like, gee, I wonder what the solution is. Maybe pay more so you get loyal employees. And I don't know if truck drivers are such a commodified skill that, you could just grab one guy and drop them in and they're equal to the other. But I don't know, just say no. But I got to write Alex's book. He sent me the notes. So I'll write about how to make six figures as a truck driver. Ice Nose, $2. Elber Gun. What? Hang on. Do you guys know what this is?
No.
Elbergun, ¿dónde está? Yo no como. Anthem, what does this mean? Come on, you all laughing here. This is at my expense, obviously. What is this? What does this mean?
No, finish the super chat so I can explain that to you.
That is the super chat. There's nothing else to it.
It's a play with, they're playing with words in Spanish. Elbergun means the guy with a big
unit.
Yeah. Okay. And the rest of it is just something silly.
Okay.
I need to know.
All right, well, let's get Rich in here. How you doing, Rich? Can you hearing us all right?
Yeah. What's going on?
Oh, much better. So, you get there's a Canadian Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah, we had ours like a month ago.
It's a month ago. Okay. All right. Well, happy American Thanksgiving. Glad you could join us here.
Yeah, we got to do it when it's warmer, so we have to do it further on in the year.
I'm kind of curious, because you've been taking a sabbatical. Kind of curious how you're doing. What do you think of all these life coaches, these self-declared experts with the avatars coming up?
Oh, I didn't even get fucking started. That's like one of the reasons why I need a break from all the bullshit. It's like, don't even get me started on those losers.
Well, and it was, I didn't really pay attention to it much until Stone started posting them all over the place. But what the hell? I mean, just what, people coming in and they think it's formulaic?
Aaron, it's not even the guys with the avatars. I mean, like half of them will show their face, but they were nobodies before they learned how to press an upload button or go live. They were literally like, they had nothing going on in their lives. And now they purport and hold out to be experts. And, they're just morons, most of them. So, needed a break from all the bullshit.
Well, and then Modern Life John took some time off. And that's another thing I kind of want to ask. I mean, a lot of people think it's like the psychologists. Like, oh, how hard is it there to sit and listen to people's problems? And it's like, yeah, at first, I mean, it's not like you're laying sod or working manual labor in the coal mines, but it takes a mental toll.
Well, listen, it takes a mental toll to dispense useful advice. So you can dispense advice. And again, a lot of these guys do, and a lot of them dispense useless advice.
No, I'm talking, but you though, I mean,
I don't. That's why I charge $3,000 an hour and people are willing to give it to me. Right.
But then you still kind of needed to take a long sabbatical, right?
Well, you know what? I'm a lot happier, rolling solo. I've written 4 chapters in my next book. I listened to your book. I've got a lot of stuff done. I've been able to do a lot of playing to win episodes and line up some interesting people to talk to. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm glad that you kind of looked after yourself, but I want to talk to Modern Life John too, because he took, I don't know if you weren't there on the Rule Zero episode, but Modern Life John came in and it looked like he just got out of Auschwitz. Like he was drawn and beat and tired. And I'm like, geez, John, what the hell happened? And I don't think a lot of people realize it's like, yeah, now I'm in probably not as high class clientele as you got, but I had to take a couple weeks off too, because I'm getting sick and tired of lazy people asking me for the solution and the meaning and the purpose to life, as long as it doesn't take any work. And I've kind of jacked up my prices on those guys too.
What are you wearing, Cappy?
I got my fez from some Moroccan fans. I have my smoker jacket that I bought to celebrate publishing Bachelor Economics.
I'm waiting for you to pull out one of those boxes where you do the thing like this and the monkey pops out of it or some shit like that.
No, I'm not the dancing monkey. I'm a classy Hugh Hefner type guy right here. I got my ascot. I got this jacket. I'm not kidding. Now you think I'm cheap, and I am, but when I wrote Bachelor Economics, it took me like 3 months.
I had no idea how cheap you were until I listened to Enjoy the Decline.
What? Wait, what was so cheap about that?
And you missed one of the most important components of dealing with milking the credit system.
Well, you're an expert in that, not me. What was that?
I am. Yes, I am indeed. So I'll probably have to put that in my second book to make sure I cover that. But I will certainly, quote and reference, Enjoy the Decline in it, because I think it covers some interesting aspects.
I appreciate it. Anyway, this was $800, Rich.
You spent $800 on that?
The whole outfit.
You should ask him for your money back, is what you
you have bad taste in all the fine things. You think you have to have a fancy new car. You don't like my old donks. You don't like it. It just when you fly to Rapid City, I'm going to pick you up in the old donk, and you're going to enjoy it. You're going to say,
well, at least I know there's lots of room in the trunk to put shit in there.
Yeah, there is.
It's probably going to be a few bodies like rotting in there at the same time, right?
No, I'm not Joe Pesci. No. What's the new book about?
It's just a follow-up, to the first, diving a little deeper down the rabbit hole and covering some stuff that I didn't deal with, in the first one, because people are always like asking for me to expand and explode on a bunch of other ideas and details. So just take it a little bit further, because I've just surrendered to the idea that, the world's going to shit, and there's a way that you can enjoy the world going to shit. And there's some stuff that I didn't talk about when it comes to making money. Because you're more on the angle of, the minimalism thing, and I'm more on the angle of the optimization of things. But, I take a very pragmatic approach to it as well, too, right?
So it's more of because I thought your first book was very well, it was a singular book. Like it covered the topic very thoroughly and very well, and was precise. But this would be a follow-up in terms of like time management, life management, economics, career type of stuff.
Well, here, let me take a look at the chapters I've already got written.
Okay, yeah, I'm kind of curious.
Got a chapter on the differences between men and women. That one's really interesting. The decline in the West, how to enjoy and prosper in it. Frame. I'm talking about things in frame that haven't been addressed by many people in the Mano Swamp. So that'll be a good chapter. Disrespect, I think, is another big one. I got a few chapter titles that I'm playing with, and it's going to be good. I mean, it's probably going to take me 4 or 5 years to finish the book, to the Captain Capitalism standards. But I'll get it out there, and it'll outsell the shit out of all your stuff.
Yeah. It will. It will. Well, how long did your first book take? Was that like 2 years or under 2 years or something?
I came up with the ideas I was going to put in it when I met Rollo, and I said to him, hey, do you want to do the forward, which was, I think, in real life in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it came out. But you didn't start going pen to paper because it didn't take you 5 years to write that thing.
No, I probably started really hustling on it about, I want to say 15 months before I finished it.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's look, most people never finish the damn book. It's what was the book Brian the dog wrote in Family Guy? He was always writing it.
I don't know. I don't watch Family Guy.
Faster Than the Speed of Love. That's what it was. The Faster Than the Speed of Love, where he never finishes it. But yeah, no, year and a half to finish that book. That's actually pretty good. So,
yeah, it'll be fun.
This one will be out, another month and a half or year and a half about?
Well, you're going to bother me like every week now for the next.
I'm not. It's just I genuinely sometimes, Rich.
It doesn't matter.
Sometimes, Rich, I actually care. Sometimes these guys maybe be being slamming on everybody.
I mean, like you're going to put out 2 or 3 pamphlets in the time that I'm writing my one, right?
Pamphlet. Hey, look, yours wasn't no Atlas Shrugged either. Okay, it was.
Nobody wants to read an Atlas Shrugged. They want 200 pages, so they can rip through it. That's how you sell books, Cappy.
You are 100% right, because I wrote what was it? The Millennial book.
The Bachelor Pad was your longest one, wasn't it?
Yes, but I wrote How Not to Become a Millennial, and that was just shy of 500 pages, about the same length as Bachelor Pad. And that was one of my worst selling books, even though I think it's probably
one.
It wasn't a pen name. Vince Barrick, he bought it from me because he wanted to go write stuff under his name. It was so dark. And for other reasons, I'm like, you know what? I'll let him buy out, and we split royalties, and it reverts back to me when he dies because he's an old fart. But it was like, okay. But regardless, it did not sell as I thought it would. And then I banged out what was the Book of Numbers, and that thing sold like hotcakes. And you're right. People want a short, digestible book. They don't want a deep, Rollo-esque philosophical tome unless it's written by Rollo himself. And so that 200, 175, 225, one very narrow focused topic, I think those are the type of books that do sell best.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just wanted to focus on kind of delivering the way that I do in my videos, which is like straight and right to the point, like no rambling on and on stuff. Just get right to it.
You know what I found interesting, and I'm kind of curious if it's happened in your consultation. Like, I got all these books out there, and I got all these videos out there, and people will come up to me, and they will say, "Oh, I want to hire you for this particular request." I say, "Well, if you read that book, that'll solve it for a fraction of what I'd charge you." And they still pay. Have you found that where it's like, here's all the resources you can get it, and they still want to talk to you?
Yeah, like they'll book me, and I'll say, hey, did you read the book? Because in the chapter I cover what you need to hear. And he's like, well, no. All right, well, do you want to read the book and save yourself $3,000, or do you want to spend like $12 and listen to the damn thing and come back after you've read it and we'll do clarification, right? And some guys they just want to hear it right from the horse's mouth. So it's like, okay, cool,
Yeah,
I'll take your money if you want to give it to me.
I had a guy, he wanted to know how to market his book on Amazon or self-publish in general. And I think no more than
advice, I hope.
Oh, look at the funny Canadian. Hey, I'm surprised when I get.
I've been away for a while, man. I've got a little bit of pent up, shit that I can flick some boogers at you on.
Are you enjoying your time off though? Kind of a break from. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I saw a couple pictures of you on a boat and all that, and
that was in the summertime. It's fucking snowing here right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but you're going. It's not all work. You can't hold on to the to the whatever power cord forever. You got to release and let go a little bit. So I'm glad that you take it a sabbatical. No one's Superman, and because if you stare into the abyss for too long, it starts to stare back at you. And even I'm starting to have a little bit of, I wouldn't say mental issues, but I'm finding myself getting really angry with my client base.
You're always angry, though, man. Like every time I hear you talking about, one of these requests, you're just snapping on everybody all the time.
Right, but that was my base level of anger before I came into it. I've always been like this, so that's no. But it's gotten worse to the point I do go to anger management, but that's to handle other things, dealing with the house and all this other stuff.
Do you really go to anger management? Like,
yeah,
how do they treat that?
It's a group, and it's really, and there's like therapists, they lead it.
Why don't they just roll you a big fat joint and say smoke this, just chill?
Because Anthem and Chad have already been lobbying for me to follow that, and one of these days I might do that, but I would like to not rely on booze. Was how I treated it before, and it worked because it calmed you down. I mean, literally within 2 minutes, I was like, "Oh, I mean, your problems didn't go away, but you didn't get all worked up about them."
The problem with booze, I find, is that it turns off the filters, right? So if you're boozing, and you turn off the filters and you say and do shit that you would normally filter, which might be why you're, tweaking out a little bit.
Well, and some of it, you could tell when I'm lit in some of my consultations, but because of my previous anger and rage, it's no more angry or hurtful than when I'm hammered. So, but in like social situations, I'm not exactly Cary Grant all the time. There's like anyone else. If you get too schlitzed, you're not on your full game. But no, it was more health than anything else. Because you can't be drinking all the time. You inevitably something's going to go.
Consults?
$100 an hour.
That's not
unless they're particularly stupid or they like go up. Did you see Cooper? Not the other Cooper, Sterling Cooper's wall of text that he got?
No.
Like immediately I'll charge.
About that, so you still get the block text.
Yeah, I still get block text. Yes, I charge like $200 minimum for it, but on average $100.
You get like the big long run-on sentence, like giant paragraph.
Cappy, you really need to raise your prices.
That's why I have an autoresponder everywhere, right? Like I don't respond to anybody. It's autoresponder in my DMs and Instagram, autoresponder in my emails. If you want my attention, you're gonna have to pay for it, and I'm expensive, and I'm expensive for a reason because I've done some shit in my fucking life, and I'm gonna charge for it. And that's how I filter the wheat from the chaff. You only charge $100. It's not enough money. I keep telling you, man. You're not charging.
No, I know. No, you're right.
You're good. You're smart. Like you know what you're doing. So charge what you're worth.
Well, but here's my main concern.
There's a bunch of dipshits out there that'll lie to these people. That'll fucking tell them what they want to hear. That are the avatars and the anons and the the nerds that did nothing with their life prior to turning on YouTube. Let those guys deal with those pricks.
Yeah. Well, and I might increase the wage, but the problem that I'm fearing is that I've already established myself at an affordable like regular especially younger people. A lot of younger guys, they can't afford $3,000. They just can't. And so since I don't have a reputation with the $1,000 per hour and up club, it would, maybe, I'm sure I got enough reach with my social media and all that. I would
just like the monkey from the monkey out of the box. That's why your rates are that rate.
Cappy, I would you don't have to go all the way up to 1,000 or 3,000. I mean, you just double it or 300 an hour.
Dude, you could charge $500 easily.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I mean, you're a huge, you're an influencer, I don't even do personal consultations.
Personal consults honestly are not a good use of time. And unless you're getting paid well for them, why bother doing?
Oh,
what I'm going to start doing?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you so I'm going to make this announcement here first. I mean, I got to put on my channel too, but I normally charge people, I think it's $250 to send me an email that I'll read and I'll respond to. And I've got a bunch of these, probably like well over 100 now on that playlist. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do them for free, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make people work for these fuckers. Okay. They're going to have to record a video. They can do it unlisted. They can do it listed. I don't give a fuck. They're going to have to upload a video that's between 3 and 5 minutes explaining what the problem is, bring a solution to the problem, and then conclude it. And I want to see their fucking face. I'm not dealing with anons. I'm not dealing with like no links to nothing. I want to know who I'm dealing with. Right. And then it's free. And I'll just go through them. I'll get up in the morning, have my coffee. I'll watch, 20, 30 minutes of this shit. And I'll figure out which ones I want to respond to. it's going to be an easy way to make interesting content, right? Because then you can sift through it very quickly. There's no big block run-on fucking sentences that go forever until Kingdom Come. You know, they've actually had to do some work. You know, I have to talk to a camera and record this. It makes sense.
Right, but you would then use that video on your video response video on your channel then,
and then I'll play it on the screen so everybody can see what what the request is, who it's from, and then I'll give they'll go and dispense the advice, right? No,
I think that'd be a brilliant idea. At least to experiment with it to see what happens.
I'm gonna try it, because the whole point of charging $250 was to make them fucking think about what they're writing.
And to be invested, right?
Yeah, invested, and clearly that wasn't enough. So you know what? I'm just going to remove the price barrier, and the investment's going to be making a video that I can watch that's fucking digestible that everybody else can watch now too.
But look at this. And you're hitting it on the head. You know why people don't want to read your book when the answer, but they'll pay you $3,000? Because it takes too much time. They don't want to do any work at all. And that's where I could see your ire getting up and my ire gets up is when their behavior, just in the short little transaction you would have with them to contract your services, you already know they're lazy because they're too lazy to go buy a $12 book and read one chapter. They just want you to tell you what to do.
Yeah, like what they'll do is they'll call in on my Unplugged Alpha podcast. The title of the podcast is The Unplugged Alpha, as the book is titled The Unplugged Alpha. And then somebody will call in and ask me some shit about dating a single mom. And I'll be like, yo, did you read my book? Oh, no, I didn't read your book. Well, there's a fucking chapter in the book that deals with that.
Right. But see, and you get to the point where you don't need the money anymore. And then it really becomes the annoyance. Like, right. When I get it in my email, I'm actually happy when someone pays me to do an original because then I get to talk about what I want. And I'm not complaining in it, but
what's an original? Like they just say, here's some money, here's
some money, talk about whatever you want. Like, thankfully, cool, I could talk about something intelligent. And I don't have like, so do I major in this or do I major in that? Well, did you research either? No. All right. Well, that's going to be $250. So just,
tell me what to do, Cappy.
Yeah. Tell me what to do. Where are the girls? But I do charge more for one-on-one consultation.
The girls.
The Girls Saw, right? That's the next book I'm going to have coming out.
The Girls Saw.
But the one-on-ones I do charge more. I do charge when people are getting stupid, but and I've thrown it, but I think I'm hitting my price point with a lot of these guys where I've thrown it like, okay, that's $200. Then I get like a third takers. It's like, okay. So I really it would be ideal. Yes, I would like to just charge $1,000 and still have the same volume. But we've talked about this before. You are fine dining. I am more the McDonald's that bangs them out. And so I'll see if maybe I'll experiment down the road. But
yeah. I just want to say, Rich, it's nice to meet you. I've seen your channel before, and I think your book is. I just checked it out. I mean, we're really providing like a father role to a lot of young men who need it. Who need to learn about masculinity and boundaries. And what we're talking about now, I think, is boundaries and value. And and the mental toll. Like you said, I don't do as much on YouTube as you guys because I'm very present to that mental toll of connecting with all these people. And they're looking to I love my subscribers. I have a very small YouTube channel because the mental energetic toll of like providing this advice for people is like, I wish you could see it physically. I think if you could see it physically, we're lifting these huge weights. Somebody comes to you and says, here, fix my life. That's a huge ask.
Well, your skill set or your product is much more involved in terms of training. So it's not like you just go mouth off on the internet. You're dealing with these people one-on-one.
A lot of the problem with these like fixing their life sort of consults is something made them sick, right? And are they willing to give up what made them sick? It's basically the first thing that you have to deal with. And most people aren't, take simping as an example. Like a lot of guys get into difficult, stupid situations, like very successful people too. Like I deal with some, like I've dealt with like a lot of big names. Like if I drop probably about 50 names, like you would know them all. Like they're all big names. They're either in politics, they're athletes. I've dealt with like film personalities,
even Chad Elkins. I mean, the world famous.
Not him. No, not yet. Unfortunately, he doesn't deem my services well worthy. But Yeah, and it's like, the same thing, is consistent. It's like, okay, well, how bad do you want this? Because this is what made you sick. Like, are you willing to give this shit up, right? And it's very interesting fucking conversation to have with somebody. It's a lot better to, on their end, on my end, when I'm charging the rate that I am. But fuck, like I've done a lot with my life, and I get away with it. I had a conversation with my old business coach. It was about a year ago, and I had him on my Plane to Win series. I hired him in like 2008, 2009. I was paying him about $3,000 an hour at the time. And I don't know if we talked about it live during the cast. I think it might have been live on the channel. Maybe we talked about it afterwards, but he said, your rates are way too fucking low. He goes, you need to double your rates right now. Right. And it was like, at that point, I'm like, you know what? You're right. Like, I'm dealing with fucking like high level entrepreneurs, and like they're talking to me for fucking 2-3 hours. And like half the time they're talking to me just about like interesting, fun shit that, they want to just converse about. Like, you're paying me to be your friend. Right. You shouldn't have to pay me to be your friend. Like, I'm happy to fucking, talk to you, but let's solve your problem. Right. Like, let's deal with that, not just chop it up.
What now you still have, because you did you're no longer doing the train wreck, and I did tune into one of your podcasts, like
it's basically the same show. It's just in the same time slot. It's just, I figured rather than calling it, continue to call it Before the Train Wreck, let's just brand it, with the book.
Right. And then, but you had maybe it was a different one, but you had a bunch of your colleagues on who are equally successful men.
Yeah, that's the Plane to Win series. That's the one that I have Cameron on.
Okay. Now, do you still do that or no?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just did one today with Greg O'Gallagher from Keno Body. He's a fucking big name in the fitness world.
What I liked about then, for everyone, if you haven't subscribed to Rich's channel, go ahead after only, of course, you subscribe to mine and his book. Buy that, of course, after you buy mine. But what I really liked about that is here you got some very successful men, highly successful, $100 million type success we're talking, but they're also human. And you kind of get this perception of ultra rich, ultra successful guys. And then you realize, oh no, they're normal guys too. They just did this thing, or they tried something. They have a harder work ethic, but then they had regular old problems like anybody else. It was kind of a real interesting show you had going on there.
What I'm trying to show people is that they did the work. That's really what it boils down to, is all these guys that, keep asking, like, how do I make the money? How do I become wealthy? How do I get the girls and all that sort of shit? And it's like the whole point of the Plane to Win podcast playlist is you can play to win in life, or you can play not to lose. Women generally play not to lose. Like, they go for the secure jobs. They'll get a custodian job at the school. They'll work in government. They'll do all the, all those bullshit, play not to lose jobs. A lot of the guys that I talk to on that playlist, they all play to win. And there's a reason behind that, because they're doing some serious fucking work. They're taking on risks. They're doing shit that other people are unwilling to do. And it's like, I used to get so frustrated, Aaron, with these fucking like losers out that are like, oh, there's only so much money out there. I can't be a millionaire if there's already all these millionaires that have it all. It's impossible. I can't get the girls because I'm only 5'7". I can't get the girls because I'm bald. It's like, one thing after the other. They got more stories than Walt Disney. They have a fucking excuse for everything. And it's like, you know what? I don't want to talk to these losers. Let them hang out with the other nerds out there. Let's talk about Playing to Win.
Well, it makes for a good show.
I like it.
Yeah. Let's get through some super chats. We're going to welcome in TJ Martinell, so I don't fall too far behind here. Kevin, my brother just finished your course, Seth. He got a $55K a year job. Thanks. See, there you go, Seth.
You're welcome.
Seth, what do you do?
I teach people how to get jobs in digital marketing, and I've been doing it since,
okay.
Yeah, and I've been doing it since 2016, and it's kind of a grassroots, like, best kept secret kind of a course. I have this great community, and yeah, man, ask your brother, Kevin, ask your brother to send me an email, because I love to share those testimonials with my followers.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with him, Rich, Seth, you search him, you'll find him, of course. But he's really helped, because he used to be he still is the digital marketing, but he put together a course, very simple, offered it. He's gotten so many, especially poor young people, like, one, out of poverty, and then two, a career.
He's doing them to do, like, how to use Facebook ads and YouTube pre-rolls and all that.
Google ads primarily, SEO, and Facebook ads. But I'm actually teaching people how to actually get the jobs. Like, I'm not just
so to land like an actual payroll,
an actual
job.
salaried position. I've had students who've gone on to work with really big brands like Netflix and Procter and Gamble and stuff like that. So, because
cool.
yeah.
And that pays about 55 grand a year.
Well, the usual trajectory is an entry-level job can be anywhere from like 30 to 50, but within a year, they're usually at 60. And I've had, people get up to 6 figures within about 3 years.
Do you see many of these students like kind of go off on their own and create their own branding agency or their own digital marketing agency?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The students have surpassed anything I could have imagined they would have done because they said the course has been around since 2016. So some of them now have like 4 or 5 years experience. Some of them are running their own agencies. I have one student who worked with like Damon John and Shark Tank. I've had students working at iProspect, which is like the biggest agency, working with Subway and Hilton and, these big brands. So
yeah, get them out of the factories, get them out of the bullshit, positions that they're in and, give them something to strive for. Good for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been very rewarding.
Aside from Anthem, there aren't any losers here. I mean, really, it's just Nonstop Dre for $2. Does Thailand tolerate poop in the streets like San Francisco? Seth?
I don't think so. I mean,
don't think so. Right.
In Bangkok, I mean, I haven't spent that much time in Bangkok, but I don't think it's really.
It's only Dre, and it's a $2 donation. You don't have to give them more than $2 worth of response. The answer is no. So, all right, Alex Patino, $10. Stay away from Mexico City. What Anthem is saying is that education in Mexico is not compulsory, so everyone at most only have a 6th grade education in the cities. You'll find everything like in the USA. I'd even argue you don't get a 6th grade education here. Bristol NLP, 50 generous pounds. Thank you very much, Bristol. Hey there, English Overlord here. Interested from yesterday's YouTube and have read Book of Numbers. Is there a cross addiction from blue pill love addiction to red pill workaholism, avoidance behaviors, overachievement type addictions? And Bristol, he's referring to Why Life Sucks video. We had a really super high, successful, high intelligent guy who was basically addicted to work and success and would feel shame if he let go and took a break or enjoyed a vice. So to answer your question from yesterday's YouTube Red Book, is there a cross addiction from blue pill love addiction? Well, if you go into debt for supporting your woman or chasing after tail, like I guess you could get addicted to workaholism because you got to pay for all the bills and the debt. If you want to avoid that, I would say, I don't know, Rich, can you make heads and tails of his question? I'm just thinking like,
no, dude, it looks
focus
like
on yourself
from
first.
my angle.
Do you want me to take a crack at it, Cappy?
Yeah, please do, TJ.
I think what he's saying is there a when he means cross addiction, is it possible that a guy who has the same, and I know exactly, I think what he's talking about, where I was talking about it on a live stream with Vince, where you have guys that I've either heard of or I've met who are very wealthy, very good in they're workaholics, they're very successful in the corporate world, but they are completely dominated in their domestic lives. And so is that an addiction issue where and that's one of the things I'm trying to figure out is why are a lot of these guys who work in Amazon, Microsoft, Starbucks, wherever, they are domineering in the workplace, but not at home. They are docile to the point of almost seeing themselves as workhorses. Is that an addiction issue? Like what causes them to be so assertive to where they can climb up the corporate ladder, but they can't, to give one example, there was one wife I heard of who forced her husband to go park his car down the street so it wouldn't wake her up at 6 a.m. in the morning when he drove to work, and she didn't work at all. So, and this is a guy who's making good money. You think he would just say, I'll park the car wherever I want, and if I want to rev the engine before I leave, I can do that because I make the money. But they completely submit. They see it as being, like he was saying, love addiction, where they feel like they're subservient and loving their wives. So yeah.
All right. Well, I'd say it's two different skill sets, or being educated and aware. Working up in a corporation or starting a company is a different skill set than being aware and educated about women's nature. Again, where reading Rollo's first book would come in very handy, because it's like, okay, I can be a really good race car driver, but I can't, put flooring in, and they're two different, completely different skill sets. So I think that's where you have that phenomenon of someone, a Jeff Bezos or a Bill Gates or whatever, or especially Elon Musk, where you're really good at making electric cars, but damn, man, how the hell, 101 Amber Heard, what the hell? So I think that's probably what it is. I mean, just because you're good at one thing doesn't mean you're good at everything else.
Well, either they can also be good at being assertive in certain types of social interactions, but when it comes to romance, they have a totally different mindset. They have the chivalrous, old-fashioned style attitude of submission is the way to earn ladies' favor. And the reason they pulled it off isn't because they're particularly charming or sexy. It's because they make $300,000 a year.
Right.
And they get treated accordingly.
Judd Grover, $5. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Glad to see Cappy found his Bachelor Theater outfit. I am to understand Bachelor Pad Theater might make a comeback. Yes, Bachelor Pad Theater will make a comeback. I just need a lot of time. Things are finally done at the house. It's so, I even did podcasts a couple times. So we're going to slowly get back to normal. Unfortunately, got to do taxes. Tax season's coming up. And then, of course, we have the holidays. But we'll be getting back to normal finally after roughly a 9-month irregular hiatus. So I will have Bachelor Pad Theater down there. Now that I found the hat, especially, and this perfectly fine, high quality silk smoker jacket that is not cheap and does not make me look like a monkey. Nonstop Dre, $2. What's Seth's plan if the U.S. dollar global value drops down?
I don't have a plan. Sorry.
There we go. There's your $2, Dre. Smoke it.
I don't.
Ahmed, hey, you guys remember Ahmed? Ahmed Khan, $5. Cap. How to cap your expectations. Currently making $35 an hour without debt, but feeling behind some of my peers who are also doing computer science. I don't know, guys. Any recommendations to not give a shit about other people?
You just stop giving a shit about other people. It's not that hard. It's just you just practice at it.
Dr. Pangloss, presumed $2 cap. Can we get an update on Operation Evil? Yeah, I'm working on it.
What is Operation Evil?
Operation Evil is where instead of me telling the truth, I'm going to sell products, either physical products or services that are lies.
You know what? There's a couple of guys that I've talked to that are like seeing the code in the Matrix, and they're like, you know what? Society wants to lie to women and tell them that, big is beautiful and tattoos are gorgeous and all that sort of stuff. And guys are starting to get wise to this, and they're starting to build businesses around the idea of catering to the bullshit lies that they love, consuming.
Right. The Democrat Party.
They want to get drunk on the Kool-Aid. Just sell them the Kool-Aid.
Right. No, it's
start your own energy drink, Cappy.
No, forget energy. It literally is drugs. Now, of course, yeah.
Cappy drink. I don't know.
No. Well, anyway, it's not going to be what it is going to be lies to different groups of people and products that are going to tell people, oh yeah, it can do amazing things, but it's basically heroin. That's all it is. All I am is a drug dealer, and I'm just going to come up with a drug that people are going to be addicted. They're already addicted to it. I'm just coming up with a better form of heroin than the Democrat Party.
Just cater to the simp economy, man.
Yeah. Well, I got plans. I got products, but I'm not going to tell you guys what it is, because if I did, then that the marketing behind it is disingenuous. I'm setting up an entirely separate corporate structure. It's all going to be anonymous. There's no way people could track me unless there's a subpoena. But you'll see some products and you're going to be like, dang, is that Operation Evil? That sounds like Operation Evil. But there's so many, like, I'll give you a perfect example. And this has nothing to do with the sexes or anything like that. But there was a plant company, they did saplings. And what they did is they came up with a bag, and that they combined forces with the funeral homes or something, and said that once you die, you can have your remains put in here and a tree will grow out of your remains. I'm like, that's brilliant. All these pot smoking hippies are going to go, and there's something like $3,000 to like take your remains, put it in a bag and put a tree, whether it grows or not, you're not going to know. You'll be dead. But oh my gosh, all these old hippies are going to go and spend $3,000 on a bag. It's so that's kind of the stuff that I'm thinking, but I'm not going to tell people what it is. Competent Man, $5. Bacon, what codes is the engine throwing? An oil light a lot of times is the oil pressure sensor and not the pump. What mileage on the engine?
It was about 160 or so.
Okay.
And it was the pump.
It was the pump. All right.
Yeah, prematurely failed. I
still think it's time for a new car, especially at 400,000 miles. The temp is 55.55, 10 Australian dollars. Like Unifrog said, we've now commandeered your holidays while our own, like Australia Day, has been vilified by leftists. So take some of my Black Friday spending and get Bacon subscribers up. Yes, please do. Traveler 4444, $10. Give this to Bacon to go towards a better car. Yeah, if you guys want donations to help out Bacon get a better car, just let me know. I'll go back, add them up, and give them. I'll take my Cappy cut. No, I won't take any cut. We'll send that off to Bacon. Elf Carter, $5. I'm a mechanic by a 1996 2005 Buick LeSabre. Left the 100,000 miles. Costs about $2,000. There you go.
My late grandma actually, yeah, she had one of those. Yeah. Oh, and yeah, like Buicks are pretty solid for what they are. Small problem, for me specifically, is just the way that the head is kind of built, especially with those trans mounted V6s. You have to rotate the engine to get to the back 3 spark plugs. So
yeah, but at $2,000, what do you care?
Well, I don't know. This is why I tend to get older cars. I actually like being able to actually work on them.
Mm.
You talk about having different life skills and stuff. You talk about working on cars and stuff. I mean, that just can take to other people. At least if they're driving something that doesn't require a doctorate in computer engineering to open the hood.
That's why you get the old cars, man. They're more fun. I can fit a body. Forget fitting a body in the trunk. I can fit a body in the front under the hood. There's a lot of room in the bed.
How's that new boat treating you, man?
It's all right. Not bad. I'm having fun. I'm having fun, man. Yeah. It's yeah, I know you don't like fun, but I like fun.
Well, your definition of fun is different from my definition of fun.
Yeah, I know you and I. We have different tastes.
We just like different fun, which is cool, because I like all cars.
Eric Burns Marsh, $5. Work all day and night. Yo, Mr. Celery. Hook up with Tim Ferriss. Not only could you play video games, but also watch sports ball and the pregame. No, I do not want to watch the pregame, the postgame, or the pre-pregame, or the post-game show. DJ Aftershock, $5. Dude, bro, we're at the bar watching the Thanksgiving sports ball game, bro. Dude, we're horking down hot wings, burgers, and beers. Go guys in the gold jerseys. There we go. Is there a game on? There has to be, right?
Are the Bills playing?
Game? I'm just saying, is there a game?
The Bills and the Saints.
Bills and the Saints. All right, there is a football game. All right. I think we're not caught up. Forum, 10 Canadian bucks. One of your guys, Rich. Thanks, guys, for the crypto point of views. Yeah, mechanical engineering by day, computer engineering by hobby with this kind of stuff to pay for my electrical bill and regular crypto purchases in an ugly manner.
Did you buy the dip, Cappy?
No, I don't pay attention to prices. I just the house really has. Did you build your house or did you buy a house?
No, I built a custom home when I got married, and I don't think I'll ever do that again.
Yeah, so the work and labor that goes into that. And
yeah, I just don't give a fuck. It's just a house. Who cares?
Right. So I've been preoccupied with that. Elf Carter, $5. Hunter Biden sells his art for big bucks. To people who already were committed to pay for it.
I thought he sold it for Parmesan cheese.
Well, I'm sure that if your dad's the president, he probably lines people up to buy your art. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Walker Art Museum in the Twin Cities, which you probably haven't, but it's nestled in what was the formerly rich part of town, and now it's going to be burnt down. It's just horrible art from rich kids from back in the 70s and 60s. And that's what it continues to be today. So it's kind of a subsidized fake market. Like it's, hey, go buy my kid's art, except your kid isn't some 3rd grader trying to sell their art to raise money for the school. He's a 37-year-old who lives at home and can't find a job. Mexi Mike, $10. ABC, always be closing, brah. I'm a peacock. You gotta let me fly. An angel, bad boy, Dr. Engineer gets a 6-pack every time he tells us to do the work. You could call me an Espanol Dr. Enrique. Let's keep scrolling down. Man, we got a lot of people. Ice Nose, $2. Rich, do you think Quebec will ever secede?
No, because they have to take on too much debt. It's not likely.
Pete Fawn, 777 Anthem, you ever find anything unusual, scary in the caves? Cappy Cap, you got to try cannabis sativa. Cheers, brothers. Anthem?
Not really. Just a few bones, but I'm pretty sure it was an animal, not a human.
Mexi Mike, $5. I was lost until I found this guy. Just kidding. Millennial Gen Z life coach who yells at the clouds, tells me to stay off the lawn. This guy really gets me. Yes, that's basically all I do. Competent man, $2. What? Don't know. Brian Dupree, $5. Hey, boys, love the threads, Cappy. Thanks. Thank you, Brian. These are very nice threads. Custom fitted. Jaime's Haberdashery at downtown St. Paul. Always go to Jaime's Haberdashery for the finest threads. Competent man, $2. About large numbers of. Competent, small messages to fill up the chat. Yes, thank you, competent man. It's not annoying at all. Christoph and on, $5. Seriously, Cappy, keep slowly cranking up your rate until you have enough free time. Hose them hard. There is an argument for that to like increase the rate, and I've increased prices like 300% since I've started. So it's we'll see what the market will bear. Steve Bottenheimer, $10. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Steve. The Competent Man, $10. And the other extreme is long Marco block paragraphs with spelling errors and no punctuations with run-on sentences and unknowing acronyms, so no one knows what they are saying as they use speech to text. What I have done is I have required, especially if I have a lot of asshole consulting to do, is I'll put $100 minimum super chat. So Rich, you'd be proud of me there. And usually that keeps people away, but every once in a while I will get $100 super chat. But I am able to get to the work. Heavy Water Tread, $5, $1 each. Kind of. Oh, well, no one's getting paid anything here except for the $5 someone donated to Bacon. Rodrigo Proenca, $5. Seth, if you have a good copywriter and video editor, should I hire for Facebook, Google ads, or should I learn it myself? How steep is the learning curve? Seth?
I mean, what are you promoting? Your own stuff? I mean, if you have the time and the energy to put into this, I think, promoting your own product, you're better off learning it. It's not a steep learning curve for these things. It does require focus. I would say it's less than coding, but it's more than learning Excel. It's like in the middle. And there's a lot of, as you do Facebook ads over time, you get better at it. But you can learn the basics very quickly. There's also a lot of resources out there. I mean, not necessarily, there's good and bad, but I would definitely learn it yourself. That also is important for when if you hire somebody, you can know if you're getting good result, it's like if you know something about cars and you hire a mechanic, you're less likely to get ripped off.
Cool. Pete Fawn, 777 Cap. Didn't you want to reduce your stress and anger and lower your blood pressure? My prior suggestion might actually help, plus no scripts. Just saying. All right, I'll look into it. I've done pretty good getting my blood pressure down, but it's just a lot of cardio. That's all. Nonstop Dre, $5. Did Cappy get the wizard robe from Goodwill or Dungeons and Dragons game? Okay, Dre. Cappy's cursed black diamond will cause uncontrollable rage, loss of height, and abuse of pets. What would we ever do without Dre? I'm so glad I met him. I'm so glad he's part of this thing.
They're never going to let you live that down.
I know. No, look, if people start paying me compliments, then something's wrong and my end is near. Swallow Blue, $5. Will you ever translate your books into another language like Spanish or Chinese? I did translate Curse of the High IQ into French because someone did the translation for me. Maybe down the road, but that's back burner stuff. I got a lot of other stuff to do. MJHMN, $2. Fun fact, the fez is illegal to wear in Turkey. Really? Okay, that's interesting. DJ Aftershock, $2. Cappy's blood pressure is down to his height. Thank you.
You want to hear a funny story about something that you're not allowed to wear in Barbados? You can't wear camouflaged cargo pants or shorts.
Why is that?
Dude, I was on a plane about to fucking land, and I had not the pilot, I think it was a co-pilot, fucking walks up to me and he sits down in the chair beside me and goes, you're going to get in a lot of trouble wearing those shorts, because I had cargo shorts and they were camo print. I bought them from an army surplus store. And he's like, you're not allowed to wear that shit in Barbados, right? He goes, they really don't like it because it's reserved for military.
Okay.
Anyway, I got shit at the fucking customs as soon as I got off the plane, basically.
Did you change or something? Or
I just told them I didn't know, and I got to change of clothes, and I won't wear it for the rest of the time I'm on the vacation. They let me through, but it was just bullshit.
What is Barbados? Is that like north of Venezuela by Trinidad or something?
It's close to South America. It's mostly out of the hurricane path, and I think it's the only Caribbean island that's, if I'm not mistaken, it's not volcanic. It's a fucking coral that's been pushed up through the sea bottom.
Oh, cool. Well, all right, TJ, what's up, man? Glad you could make it.
Yeah, I got a bolt, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay. We'll see you later, Anthem. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Look at that, Anthem.
Cheers.
Cappy, what's been going on other than super chats?
A lot of super chats.
That's
So, how's the new house,
man?
Oh, it's good. I was just putting in a new table in the breakfast nook. I don't know how much you've been following, but it's an original 1930s house. So it's got the flooring, the wall texturing, the air vents, old furnace, that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool. It's a cool house. I've just been.
I know you moved in. Is that going to be a recording studio?
I'm gonna have to put something on the walls because it's bare hardwood floors. So
I couldn't tell. It's just such high audio quality. I don't even know why you'd add some kind of soundproofing there.
Well, the other problem is it was the only affordable house for me left in Western Washington, and it's right next to a railroad crossing. So you'll probably hear it, or I'm gonna have to mute it every now and then because it's pretty loud. But
now, is that cool or not? Because I always thought it would be neat to live next to a train, as long as it didn't come through at 3 a.m. But as a kid, maybe that's
cool and dry. But this is literally the railroad crossings right over there, and it shakes the house. Depending if it's the empties coming back, then it'll shake the house. Which, it occasionally will wake me up at night, but it's not the worst thing in the world. But like I was saying, the only other houses now that are within my affordability range in the west side are modular homes, and they're going for, I think, over 400,000 now.
When you say west side of the state, right? Not west side Seattle Metro.
Yeah, with the west side of the Cascades.
Okay, and then and you're living kind of near your folks or something, right? Like you're closer to family now than you were before.
Yeah, I live within 3 miles of 3 generations. I was actually just at their house for Thanksgiving, which is nice because when I wanted to go see people before, I had to go drive 2.5 hours, and Highway 2 is you've been on the motorcycle.
Yeah, many times, of course.
It's one lane both ways, and there's a lot of idiots on that road, and the weather can not always be agreeable. So it's nice to just, if we want to hang out or do something, we can just go. But the market here is going the way of California, and the nice thing about locking into this housing market is once you're inside of it, you can keep island hopping, as it were. You build up equity for one house. That's what I did over in Central Washington. Built up equity.
Smartest financial move you ever made. Yep.
Housing is the greatest in my area. We're not talking Kansas City or some other part of the country. This area, it's an inflation hedge. Your house equity. My house's equity probably went up by 30 grand from the time I bought it to the time I moved into it. It probably went up by 30 grand just within a month. So this housing market, if you're in it, you can't lose. I was actually talking to someone I'm going to be working with soon. The neighborhood that Bill Gates lives in, her mother bought a home there for $17,000 back in, I think, the 40s or 50s. She still lives in the home.
Yeah.
And when she died, she's in her 90s now, but she bought the home for $17,000 back in the 50s. And the houses around her now are worth like $10 million.
Oh, good Lord. So good for her.
When they sell it, it's going to be bought for the property only. And then someone's going to go bulldoze that old Rambler or whatever she's living in and then just build a new house. That's what they're doing in my old neighborhood back in an old Seattle suburb. They're tearing down all the Ramblers and putting in these McMansions because you got all these techies moving in there. And it's really funny to watch. I go through my old neighborhood, and there's some home that was built back probably by my great grandfather. He was a construction guy back in the 50s. And it's kind of run down, paint's a little weird, there's a beat up car. And then right next to him is a house that was built brand new. Clearly a millionaire lives there. But they're living right next to, Archie Bunker or the Beverly Hills hillbillies. Like that's so surreal to see two totally different groups of people of socioeconomic classes living right next to each other in the same neighborhood. So
what I'm kind of curious, because I'm happy you moved and all that, but what I hate to say this, but I do kind of look up to you and I'm kind of proud of you in one regard, where you're one of the few, if only, I think, young men who went out, moved to a different town, did self-employment, risks be damned, you bought a house, and now obviously it is paid off. So you kind of went on this adventure. I mean, it really was an adventure, living out in the Leavenworth area. And now you're back. I mean, is it, you obviously learned some lessons, but is it good to be kind of quote unquote back home? Because you could go see your family for Thanksgiving and you could see your mom and your dad. I mean, is that kind of, is it an improvement over what you had before then?
Hey guys, I got to run. I'm going to.
All right. See you, Rich. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. See ya.
Hey, cheers, Rich.
There's been a couple of life lessons that I would say. One, if you're a bachelor, don't live in a rural area.
Okay.
Unless you're you know, and you're older, you're confirmed bachelor, and you're just going to go out and live there, because there's just not a lot of available women your age who are also, depending on your what's acceptable to you. Like if you have standards, if your standards are a certain way. And also just mindset. There's just not a lot of those people in rural areas. It's mostly older people or people who've already gotten married, because it really is a cliche. The young people in the rural towns all leave immediately as soon as they graduate. They go to the city, they go meet someone there, they get married, and then they go move back to either suburbia or a rural area. So some of the areas I was living in was old people and very young families. There was nobody. This is one of the, I was hanging out with some people who were in their 20s, and it was so surreal for me because I haven't really done that. Most of the people I was interacting with socially, for the most part, there were some exceptions, were people who were older and married and, you know, had that perspective in life. And there's not opportunities to meet people. So I would say that that's another life lesson. Oh, here comes the train.
Hey, TJ, what's up? I just wanted to agree with you because I've had the same experience. I didn't even realize it because I like nature. So I was living in Northern California for a while in a small town, and I didn't understand it. Like, didn't click in my head like why my social life sucked, because everyone around is either retired or married. And
there's nothing wrong with being around retired people or people who are older. But when you're a guy in your 20s or 30s, or you're interested in, you're interested in women and there aren't any around, it's frustrating and it's just not normal. Like that's not the normal thing for a man to be in that mindset or just in that kind of environment. And so moving back has been nice in that regard. The other thing is it's funny how I've moved closer to Seattle, but the area I'm living in now, like that general section of this county, it is very much, there's a momentum that is, I'd say, for lack of a better word, right-wing or conservative. In terms of like Monroe is a city that is the biggest city nearby. That's kind of a red area in the state. My town is full of people who are much more outspoken about politics than the area I lived in. They tended to be more insular, for lack of a better word. They had their views, but they kept it to themselves. Whereas I'm walking into a pub that's across the street and everybody's talking about how, the latest thing about Joe Biden, and then I was at a local church on Sunday, and the pastor says, is there anything anybody's thankful for because it's Thanksgiving? And some guy just gets up and goes, yeah, Kyle Rittenhouse got acquitted. And, there's in my area, there's a guy whose internet network is Joe Zappetto. And I'm at the pub and this woman comes in wearing this sweatshirt that says, let's go Brandon. I mean, I never saw any of that stuff in Central Washington. Now, in my section of Central Washington, so it was kind of a relief. And people were, when I was at the pub, I came back the next day, another night, and the waitress, who was the bar gal, was like, oh, I was afraid you were never going to come back, because that was when all the guys were getting around. I was like, no, actually, I kind of like it here.
What are there? I know this is going to be a stupid question. Any girls then, if you have moved to a cosmopolitan area, or I mean, I know there's probably. Yeah.
This is the irony. I'm still living off the same highway, and I'm still living in a rural area, but I'm closer to. I need to go make an effort to go out into areas where there's going to be younger people. They're not necessarily where I'm at, and also because I also live again in an unincorporated community, so there's not a lot of places to meet up with people other than a pub or some local restaurant. So that's where, if you're going to live in a rural, this is where I would say to men who are looking at places to live, when you're a bachelor, you probably, depending on your circumstances, you might want to consider getting a condo in an urban area where you have access to amenities and there's places where young people go. When Vince, Rob, and I and James were in Philly, we were in downtown Philly. There were young women everywhere, like everywhere. It was like the last time I saw that many young, and they were attractive girls, was in Paris. So that's where living in a downtown area or living near a downtown area, especially one that's walkable, is an advantage. And yeah, I love nature. I'm a huge hiker, so that's where I was drawn to the mountains. But
you kind of got your fill of that. You've posted some amazing pictures.
It's not always the best place to actually live. Anyway, guys, good advice, TJ. I got to run. I'm gonna FaceTime with my family.
Cool.
And my niece. So I'm excited about that.
Well, happy Thanksgiving, Seth. Glad you could come on, and everybody check out Seth's thing if you're looking for a job, indemandcareer.com.
All right, man. Good to see you, Cappy. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye,
all right,
guys.
see you, Seth.
So yeah, some life lessons on that. And I'd say a lot of it also is you put yourself out there and opportunities arise, because I was in town in Leavenworth the day my house got put on the market, and there was a lot of coincidences and things that locked into place at the right time. But if I hadn't been there and been out, sometimes you can't go out looking for something specifically. You have to just be in places and be available for when you see stuff going on, because it's not going to come to you. And that's, I think, a problem with a lot of guys. And you guys were talking about this earlier on the live stream, where some people just want the easy, quick fix solution to something. They want to take a pill. It's the take a pill and your problems will go away syndrome. They're used to just being handed a pill to deal with problems, as opposed to saying it's going to be a long journey, and here's where you're starting, but it is not going to end tomorrow.
Well, but you've made progress. You've moved forward. You don't regret the move, obviously, because I think you kind of explored Leavenworth in that area and that lifestyle for all it was worth. And now I actually got wisdom that you could pass on to other people. And dare I ask if you're kind of somewhat hopeful or optimistic about the next year, at least because things would be novel or different or new?
Well, this is where I'm really thinking to myself, because there's a bunch of other changes that are going on or that I've been making in my life. And the reality is this is going to be, for me, the make or break year for certain things in my life. Either things are going to move forward or progress, or they're not. And there's obviously going to need to be things that I have to do on my end if I want that stuff to happen. And I honestly, I love rural areas. I love living in a rural area in many ways, but at heart, I'm a suburbanite. I like living in suburbia. I like living in a neighborhood, a traditional neighborhood that I grew up in. And so my plan, I know I just moved in here, but my plan is to renovate the place, get it fixed up, wait maybe a year or two when I've got the equity back, and then try and move into Monroe and find a house if it's possible. But my plan is to move back to suburbia, because that's just where people are. Especially if you're looking, how do I get the girls? You might find a girl on a mountain outside Leavenworth. She likely will either be alone and not looking to talk, or she will be with her hubby. Right. That's a place where a lot of people go. And so that's where things are at as far as for me. My ultimate goal is to move back to suburbia and have a home in that area. But I got to be honest with what's going on in our state. For those of you who don't know, we've been under a state of emergency in our state for 2 years. The governor can declare an emergency at will, and he's the only one who gets to decide when it ends. And at some point, I've got a couple lines in the sand where if those lines get crossed, I'm out.
I would be leaving Washington State if in 2 years. Is he a Democrat or Republican?
There are no Republican.
Well, I don't know. You got no state income tax. I mean, there's okay. So you got to.
They're trying to. I wrote about that for 5 years. They have been voters. That is one thing that Washington voters are adamantly opposed to is an income tax.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, that is just in part of our culture. They have been trying to get around that by just having it
multiple ways. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's my line. I understand it. They pass an income tax in this state in spite of everything constitutionally, because our definition of all property taxes of different classes have to be uniform in nature. So that we can have an income tax. It just can't be progressive. Our definition under our state constitution of property is all things tangible and intangible subject to ownership. So if they say that income isn't property, then it's not subject to ownership. In other words, the state of Washington is saying that my income I don't own.
Yeah, and then get out of there. Yeah,
right.
It's a all right. Well, let's get up a couple more super chats. I think we'll call it because, like, I don't know where Vince or all the other guys. I thought we'd have a fair more of other people showing up. Nonstop Dre, $2. Are we invited to Vlad Elkins and his unicorn wedding? Well, they're not officially a thing. He's just merely visiting a nice girl. The girl is nice, but you know how girls are. I think I'm going to make a new rule. All girls are forever on probation. Well, you'll never fully.
Good rule to have.
It's a good rule. I'm sorry, ladies, and this girl is a great gal. I like her very much. She's a friend of the show and a friend of me. But I've seen no. It's like no, you're on probation forever. Sorry, all the other gals ruined it for all the other women, but no, you're always on probation. There's always sleeping with one eye open. So they're having a good time right now. And I'm glad to see Chad going out and having some fun and leaving Chicago and realizing there are other states out there in the United States. And I think that's it, man. I think we got them all. Cool. All right. Let's go ahead and plug what remains of our shit, who remains on the show. Bacon, tell everybody where they can find you, what you do and all that, and how we got to get you to 1,000 subscribers, please.
You can find me here on YouTube at the goddamn bacon, spelled just like that. I started doing. I'm starting to putz around like different times, kind of during the afternoon, because I don't know if you guys knew this. Me and Teacher are like the only ones on the West Coast here. Like almost everyone else that I see like on YouTube, they're all on the East Coast. So I decided to start doing a couple of extra, different time slots or whatever, just, for them, or different days or whatever. But usually, since I take Fridays off, I'll stream there, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that's if I've got, everything working, unlike today where, the one time I actually, end up on this show, like, the goddamn mic doesn't want to work.
Yeah, no, that's all right. That's how it goes. So, all right, everyone sign up for the goddamn bacon. We have, hey, what's up, Chad? He's gone now. Every time I hit the unmute button, he goes away.
What?
God damn it. Oh, okay.
It's just one of those kind of nights, man. I guess that's what it is.
Yeah, well, he's I saw a picture. There's like 1,000 people there and a lot of little kids. And so you know how little kids are. And they're not expecting, be quiet. The rando guy who isn't blood relative wants to do a podcast. So one more here. Nonstop Dre. Bacon looks like Dr. Disrespect. Who's Dr. Disrespect? You guys know?
He apparently is some gamer, according to Nonstop Dre.
Oh, sure. All right. And TJ, you got a new book out and all this other stuff. Tell people where they can find your works.
Yeah, so I came up actually 2 books. The Iridian, which is a combination of Star Wars and the Maltese Falcon, so film noir.
Okay.
And then Legend of Ferenya, you can find both of them on Amazon. Legend of Ferenya is great. You'll enjoy if you love Zelda.
Okay, cool.
You can
And then
find the
we'll
rest
tell
of the- Oh, yeah, go ahead.
But you have quite an inventory of books. I mean, people can go to tjmartinell.com and find all the other works that you've put together, both science fiction, post-apocalyptic, not the legend. The song Wolfgar was really good.
Yeah.
I like how our
Jack Napier.
Jack
Hey,
Napier.
I gotta check out some more of your books, TJ. I've been doing a lot of reading as of late.
Yep. Chad, yeah, it's
No.
too hard to do this right now where I am from. I think you're wrapping it up anyway. Yes, we would have liked to had Vlad Elkins on. It would have been nice, but that's okay. So, all right. Well, thanks for coming on, guys. Everyone have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you guys later. TJ, you want to take us out?
Toodles.